Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games. Corn!
A delicious cinematic horror game from Ubisoft?
Chris Wolfhard.
Send me the bill later.
And Dr. Aggro.
Whoa, slow down, chainsaw noise.
Here on GigaBoots.
Slowing down a chainsaw noise, that I think that's a genre of music.
You know what? For once, I'm willing to call that bluff. I don't think that is a genre of music.
You know what? Put it in the comments, guys. Put it in the comments.
It's probably called something like industrial, housecore, electro.
It's not called slowing down chainsaw.
Look, I'm just saying, that's how you make art, by slowing down a chainsaw noise.
Mappa would beg to differ.
That's true. They didn't slow that down for shit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Think Dimension number 193, the one where Dan talks about corn.
So this is now a new metal podcast.
Yes.
No.
Awesome.
Sorry, Chris. It was the long con. You're here now.
I should have known when I saw Aggro's beard.
You should have, frankly. It seems really fucking obvious in retrospect, doesn't it, motherfucker?
First of all, this is a war metal beard.
The next thing I know, Dan, you're gonna reveal that the only reason you brought me on is because I had tools that we could use for the axe restoration videos we're going to start making.
Holy crap, Aggro's too perfect for that. We have to keep him away from that. Bob and I played Scorn, an atmospheric horror made by Ebb Software. If you don't want to trust us about what the game is, feel free to go to scorn-game.com to find out more.
Thank you, Brandon Jones.
Man. Okay, so when you look at the hot exclusives that Microsoft had to announce before they had to buy Bethesda, so they had exclusives to announce. The two that really stood out as, why are you propping this up so much, was The Medium. Well, really, it's three. The Medium, Bright Memory Infinite, and Scorn.
Oh, yeah, the good old days.
Yeah.
Before it became apparent. They had nothing, and they were going to have nothing.
That was the opening shot of them being like, check this out, and we're like, dude, what?
Yeah, I feel like those exemplified how they had nothing, because they were all indie games that were already announced.
Mm-hmm. So that was for people who don't remember or just choose not to. That was May 2020. That was their conference where they got to show what next gen looked like. Now, obviously, I'm not a fucking dolt. I had very low expectations for Scorn. There was no way it was a game that you would hang a conference on ever. That's just not what that game was. That is not the level of expectation I had coming in. I expected a game that spent forever in development, that was crowdfunded, that just barely got over the finish line 2 years after getting funding from Microsoft. And I was still disappointed. For people who genuinely have no idea what this game is, it's H.R. Giger art style for environments. It's first person. And ideally, if you want to be the most generous human being you can be, it is a first person puzzle horror adventure game. However, there are maybe 5 to 6 puzzles in the entire 5 hours. And there's terrible combat. Horrible combat.
Now, Dan, I heard people describe the combat as survival horror and imply that people just don't know what that means anymore. But then that same person went on to talk about how much they like first-person shooters that feel bad. So,
right. And that's the thing. Like, as somebody, we played through Silent Hill 2 for the first time for either of us earlier this year. I've played through tons of Resident Evil games before they were extra actiony.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You played through Galarians at one point on one stream.
Yeah, we did play a huge chunk of Galarian's Ash, which was really hype, and I wish we had done a full playthrough. That was giving games a chance, Galarian's Ash. Please go watch that.
We played through all Parasite Eve.
I love Parasite Eve.
You played Parasite Eve
does.
2 even.
It's insufferable how much he loves Parasite Eve.
well,
He says that
Parasite Eve's
'cause I
really
handed
fucking
him-
cool.
He says that because I handed him the book, and I'm like, I'm thinking about doing a video on the book. Do you want to read it so that way, you could have an opinion too? And then him and Tosh read it, and they both go, "Yo, this he's just got no brain."
I mean, it was a pop culture book about science. That's kind of how they go.
I was trying to remember exactly how Aggro phrases it. He's like, it's basically like medical papers, the book. And not much else going on. I was like, damn, that's impressive, if nothing else.
Who wrote Jurassic Park?
Michael Crichton.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't even have the courtesy of a Michael Crichton story where they kill a bunch of gorillas with a laser or something at the end.
God,
No.
that movie rules so hard, and I'm bringing it into Blot Day eventually.
Thank you. Someone has to,
Yeah, no, I'll fucking do it. One time I had strep throat, and I watched that movie every day for a week.
Which movie? Jurassic Park?
Congo.
Congo.
I didn't know that was written by the same dude.
Mm-hmm. He wrote a lot of movies in that era because they made Jurassic Park and it was really popular.
Yeah.
And movie executives are morons. So they're like, oh, it's not that Steven Spielberg made a technological
Right.
marvel with a gripping story and great characters.
Right, no.
It's adapting Michael Crichton books. That's the magic.
Man.
I knew that when that movie came out. I had long since forgotten.
Yeah.
My favorite Michael Crichton thing is this old Simpsons joke where they're in the airport and they have the only Michael Crichton bookstore.
Yeah.
And Mole Man, the little guy, is like, "Do you have a Tom Clancy novel?" And the guy just says, with more contempt than I've ever mustered for anybody, says, "Get out."
The combat in it is not
Yeah, can you
horror combat.
compare it to anything?
Okay.
Any other bad shooter?
This will come off as hyperbole and perhaps as to a mild extent, right? Like, oh, he's exaggerated it greatly by 10% because the starting point was already so absurd. It feels like the orange box on PS3. Like, it feels chunky in a way that doesn't make sense nowadays.
That's how I played Half-Life 2, so that I've got good memories.
But here's the thing. You don't spend half of Half-Life 2 with a melee weapon, a gun that just melees this far in front of you that you cannot gauge the distance on.
Oh, fuck.
That has a stamina bar that takes half an hour to recharge, it feels like.
Oh, no.
Once again, so it's H.R. Geiger art style, and you have a piston gun that has a stamina where it can pump twice.
I've been wondering for more than a year how your weird flesh gun worked, and
Yeah.
this is...
Once you expend your white stamina meter, you have to let it cool off for a bit because your piston can only go twice. Let me. No, that's the game. That's the text.
I know. I'm saying boo to them.
Okay, just to be clear to the audience, that is the text of the game. This game could be interesting, but it's not. This game could be compelling on some sort of thematic level, but it's brain dead. They don't really want to do much of anything with theming or ideas or objects in it or narrative or anything until the last 50 minutes of the game, maybe. And at that point, they do what you would basically call the most straightforward, hey, do you have anything interesting to say about intellectualism versus sexuality and what it means to carry on yourself forward into the future and all of these concepts? And it's like, no, I'm just, here's what I think is deep. And it's like, you spent 7.5 years developing this game. Can you have a remotely deep idea anywhere in here?
Bob,
Yeah, what's up?
What I'm about to tell you has never worked out well for me. But every time somebody says some shit like this about a piece of media, there's a very damaged part of my brain that goes,
No, he doesn't understand.
Aggro, you need to consume this media because maybe it's brilliant. Maybe you'll
that's
see through the
never-
veil.
That's never how it goes.
No, it's not. It never works.
Yeah, you might get lucky once ever in your lifespan. I don't think this is it.
That shit is why I watched Sword Art Online.
What?
I'm like,
Holy shit.
this premise is pretty good. It can't be that bad of a show.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
For anyone who, doesn't know the channel, maybe they saw the hot tweet of the week that was a clip from Big Thing Dimension months ago where I explained the plot of The Medium. And then some guy, this was the funniest thing to come of that. Some guy crawls into the replies of that quote tweet where it's not a quote tweet, but them clipping that and tagging me, where this person just goes, "Hey, hello, hi, I don't understand subtext." And then I just explain it and they go, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I also watched this video over here by this other person. They too explained the subtext. That's pretty fucking bad." That was a hilarious moment. But anyway, I've spent a lot of time since we beat it on Friday just mulling over every metaphor. What does the face represent? No, it doesn't. We're not that abstract. It's more like, what does the baby canister you pound to death into a goop represent? And it's like, baby, you liquefied to holy shit. This is literally aggro, and I cannot. If you and me were brought into a studio in the last 10 months of development and they showed us the entire rest of that game, you and I, half sincerely and half as a farce, would write all of the ending, because it is the most. I woke up and crammed for the exam 8 hours before I had to take it. Because there's nothing meditative, in my opinion, about any of the imagery or metaphors. None. And for anyone who's wondering why I haven't literally said this, before we went live, I asked Aggro, I'm like, are you playing this game? Because I will just not spoil the shit out of it if you're playing this game. If you're okay with losing 4 to 5 hours of your life, go ahead.
Oh yeah,
feel free.
That's what I do.
I'm very curious to see if you can enjoy this game, honestly, because it feels like
the moment we hit the combat, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Aggro will fucking hate this, because the puzzles aren't like, they need to be more. The puzzles in this game need to be more developed, more unique.
Yeah, no, it was before we started hitting the heavy combat, I was like, well, maybe this will be a game that Aggro would get into, because it is mist adjacent, and then the puzzles got worse as we went and the combat got constant.
Yeah, I think there's like one unique style of puzzle in the entire game, and then the rest of it is really, really basic puzzles, like really basic.
The first room in that game is a bigger puzzle with more possible solutions than anything else in the game, which is insane. It's like, oh, this was your concept for the game, and then later on, you figured out you needed to make it a combat game.
Yeah, and so everything up until the last 50 minutes of the game largely has the same very similar tone in how it looks, how it feels. There's an outside area. That's not really spoilers. You get to that pretty quickly. And that looks mildly different. But the last 50 minutes is the only thing that has a different look to it. So you spend most of this game in very similar rooms with not amazing puzzles and really bad combat and virtually no plot occurring.
Yeah, there's no supposed dialogue in this.
Yeah, which is fine. You can tell a story without doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
But they didn't. They didn't tell much of a story without doing that. You could summarize the first, 80% of this game with maybe 3 sentences. Maybe 5 at most.
It looked like a dick.
And then the twist at the ending is they show you a dick. And they're like, I got you.
Like, credits roll and you get a scene like in a Witness where the guy wakes up behind his desk and just pulls his dick out and points a camera at it.
This is my face when I'm furiously jacking on camera. And I'm like, what?
That would have been a better ending.
It would have. There are any number of endings you could have made that would have been better. So yeah, I don't know. It could have been combat heavy, and that could have been fine if it felt good. It could have been more. It could have been completely combatless, and I think that would have been for the better, honestly. But yeah, this is a terrible game. I'm surprised that people are enjoying it.
I mean, when you say people, are we talking about video game journalists?
No, not even them.
Oh, really?
Force.
Yeah, critically this bombed, and then what was it right after that? You saw like fucking Gotham Knights approaching these levels of like IGN gave it a 4.
I was worried we were leading up to it's unique and therefore it must be brilliant.
Well, it does have a 7th gen energy like that, where it's like, well, it's got Giga art style, and I'm like, that's fine for a bit, but you need more than that to this game, and it doesn't have more than that to this game. And that's the tragedy, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of games have an interesting art style, and they have more to it than that. And this game does not. The entire weight of this game hangs on what will you tolerate as a brain dead thing to deal with in order to enjoy more of the art style.
I remember us basically saying that when the first trailer came out. Like, wow, that's a really interesting concept for 10 minutes of a video game.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's like one of those bands where they have one good song and a whole album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been tricked by that before. I bought albums where I'm like, this sure has one great song. Now, see what the devs of the Scorn needed to do was when you got to the end of the game, just have a guy wake up and look confused in a dark room, and that would save the plot because nobody would ever be able to figure out what you were going. They would make up their own meanings forever.
There was like a thing that could have been an interesting thing, and the ending of the game just goes, well, answering that would be hard, so
we might have to do something that's not Geiger art style if we do that.
Possibly, who knows?
Impossible to do this.
Who knows? We don't know.
Can't wait.
Yeah, just delightful. Aside from that, we played Tony Hawk. Yo, Tony Hawk. What a great fucking franchise. They should have kept making them. What did we play? We played 3, the real one. We played 4, the real one. We played 3, the fake one, which is the PS1 one. That thing's a nightmare. And then the only thing I actually wanted to focus on here, other than, hey guys, Tony Hawk, what a great game. They have, on the PS1 Mr. Core, they've added a new level of turbo. I think I may have referenced this at some point, Big Think weeks ago. I don't know for sure. But basically, the CPU optimizations of this mode is so good, it makes this total piece of shit port of Tony Hawk 3 run at like 30 at times and run really smooth. And it's just like, that's fucked up. This isn't supposed to run. What the fuck are you doing over there? So that was cool. And I think that's an interesting way to play through it because the Mister can do widescreen on top of that, on top of 24-bit color. That was cool as shit. The Mister continues to be one of the most amazing things in gaming. Like, it is truly a great time to be into retro games just because of the Mister alone, let alone all other innovations with upscalers and other things going on. What's up?
Tony Hawk 3 on PS1, I hadn't played it in years because that's the only version I had back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that manual is just almost impossible after you revert.
Yeah.
It makes the game almost like insane to play. Like,
for people who don't know, after you revert, as long as you push up and down in an order, you will manual after the revert. In the PS1 version, you must hit R2 and then deliberately down and then up and then nothing else. Otherwise, it will not count that. So there's a whole style of playing Tony Hawk that has developed over the years for me because I know if I spin the D-pad really fast after doing a revert, you will manual. So me of all people, I'm on the first level of fucking Tony Hawk 3 on the PS1 and I'm like, it won't fucking manual. What the fuck's going on? And then I realized, oh, it's really, really picky. Okay. Gotcha. All right. I'm going to say something that might be seen as inflammatory, and I need all of you to realize it doesn't need to be inflammatory. No one needs to take this personally.
He's gonna say it.
Oh no. If you think Scorn's pretty good, you're probably into brain dead, pretentious media. Not actually smart, pretentious media. Okay, I'm done. Because that's the thing. The game's not even pretentious. The ending approaches being that vaguely, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not enough there. Bob even made the joke of it should end like Vanilla Sky. Tom Cruise should walk out and then explain what the movie was to fucking morons, like my parents, who will then not understand it even still. Us rewatching Vanilla Sky a few years back was the funniest moment in the world. It was like, how did my parents not get it? They're literally explaining it for 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, there's a half hour straight of just, here's what the movie is.
I still like that movie, by the way. No one else in the room, I think, liked it by the end of the 30-minute explanation.
I love that kind of shit, so maybe I'll really like the movie.
I never saw it myself.
Ooh. I know what I'm bringing in the Bless One.
I feel like people who are really going to bat for Scorn are like,
yeah,
it's partially coping because they really like H.R. Giger art. That's part of it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, I get that.
There's also this mindset that started around 2012, maybe a little bit earlier for some people, where it's like, I know this is supposed to be artsy.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that's bad must be something intentional that's secretly brilliant.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, it doesn't do enough in any one category. Like there's not enough there, especially not for $40. Which, you know, I played it on Game Pass, so that kind of wasn't a part of my judgment call there as a casual, as somebody just playing it on stream. I didn't have to deal with the visceral nature of knowing I lost $40 because I didn't. I lost 10, 11.
The weird thing is, like, if I had heard nothing about this game, like, $40, I don't know. Now that I know it's, like, bad in a fascinating way, I'm like, $40, bam, sign me up.
For anyone who's wondering why the branding of the podcast network and me and Bob is like sticking our hand in the pain box for fucking Dune, that's just a cultural thing, I guess.
Niceville breaks you. I don't know.
Sometimes you just want to feel alive.
You guys know how at your high school graduation ceremony you all put your hand in the gum jabbar or whatever?
Look, when I'm not here, I'm watching isekai anime. So.
See, all I can think is, man, Dune's so cool.
It is.
Yeah. I wish this was a case of like a himbo thing where it was like, oh, it looks fucking awesome, but man, what a fucking vapid, stupid experience that was. But it really doesn't even do that for me. Like, and not to get controversial here, that's kind of how I'd rate like some Blade Runner products, and I will not specify which, so that way people can't specifically get upset at me. Where I'm just like, that looked fucking awesome. Because I can still enjoy how fucking awesome it looked, right?
Right there with you.
Oh,
I think we're thinking about the same one.
Yeah! So anyways.
Oh, let me rephrase that. We better be thinking about the same one.
Oh, no! And, you know, that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine to be that. And I still enjoy that based on what it... But, like, this isn't that. It doesn't have enough there.
It's harder for a game to be that than, like, a movie, in my opinion. Because, like, a bad game can really be excruciating to interact with in a way that the art can't carry.
Yeah, like Sync Lord the Shadow.
It's
like a lot of times.
Right. Yeah.
When I was sitting there not playing, and I'm like, wow, this game is really pretty.
Yeah. Oh, man. There were parts in playing Scorn, we literally started talking about Lords of Shadow and how similar some of the puzzling design was.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
It's like there's a difference between imagine a vibrant, gorgeous, you know, valley with a waterfall and trees, and you're just taking a stroll, and that's great. Now imagine like you're pulling a cart full of rocks.
Right. And that's
all
what
of
I
a
was going to
sudden
say.
the splendor is kind of lost because you're pulling this fucking cart of rocks.
Right. And that's the thing.
There's literally a puzzle in the Let's Play we did for Lords of Shadow where it cuts to black and goes 20 minutes later because we couldn't figure out to like do this skill mixed with this thing that we did one time before in the whole game at the end of a much longer puzzle.
Here are these two disparate powers you have. Why didn't you know to use them simultaneously? And I'm like, dude, you change what I can do every fucking level. Like, one of the problems with Lords of Shadow 1 is that, like, in some cases, you can extend your whip so far that you fall off and die. And in others, there's a bottom, and you hit it and you stop. There are some cases where you can hit a button to jump away from the wall, and then there are others that button does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There are actually a couple times in that game you hit a different button to jump away from the wall while on the whip. That is just that game. So having said that, Scorn isn't that bad.
Right. It's not the same.
Scorn's problem is more of just not having smart puzzles. It's kind of like somebody handed you, oh man, what do they call that thing? Like the patience game where it's just a bunch of holes and then pegs go in them and you jump the...
wait.
Yeah, I can't remember that. So I don't remember the name of it. But
it's on the it's on the table at every not Golden Corral.
That peg game?
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. I was going to say
Solitaire is what it's called.
It's just called the peg game.
Right. The internet might think of something else as that, but we have it at Po Folks.
Yeah, it's a Cracker Barrels.
Yeah, but it's kind of like imagine a few things of that tier, and none of them are completely unique to the game, and you get like 5 of those, and then the game ends, and it's just kind of like, you should have invented like your own idea. There's like one original thing where they have a really complicated slider puzzle that isn't an image. It's more of moving things through a path and how you move the things, and the way it visually represents certain things you can do are the unique element here. Yes. God, I wish that would be very funny. The first puzzle in the game, insert penis into Google. No. But yeah, so Scorn. It really does go on that list. Bob, do you remember we had a list of games when we beat the medium? We said it was one of the 3 worst games we've ever streamed, and we did them all this year. I know one's 12 minutes, one's the medium. There's a third one that was really early this year that I could not remember. There was a third game that entered this pantheon. So this is the 4th game to enter this pantheon. Guys, we have streamed 4 of the worst games we've ever streamed this year.
Was it Tom Goes to the Narrative?
No, because that towers over all 4 of these games.
Oh
my God. Poor 12 minutes.
Yeah, God, 12 minutes. What is...
Yeah,
we don't need to talk about it again, but good Lord. I don't remember, because medium 12 minutes in this were all real bad.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, there was Kung Fu Chaos.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because they all have different reasons they're in that circle of hell.
Yes.
Very different reasons.
Yep.
Okay, well then. That's Scorn. If you want, I paid for Game Pass for another month if you just want to borrow this. Oh, wait, we have to...
Yeah, we have to use the Xbox for other stuff, unfortunately.
We have to play Silent Hill 2 HD Collection because we already played the real version. We got to... I booted it to make sure everything worked. Really not something I should need to do with a back-to-back game on Xbox, but, I always do that before streams just to make sure. And the fucking title screen video, the FMV video, starts playing and Maria talks, and I'm like, what the fuck is with her voice? What is this voice you've given Maria? And then Troy Baker as James Wonderland or whatever, Sunderland, is just like, Maria? And I'm like, I mean, it's fucking Troy Baker, but that's at least anything at all like how he sounded before, and Maria's this other creature. What is going on?
You have to see if he slips into Jinkaria mode at any point.
No.
I'm so excited. We get to sit there on the edge of our seat the whole fucking game being like, I've
Could
actually...
Jinkaria defeat Pyramid Head?
Sorry, that's not his name. It is Red Pyramid Thing. That is...
I thought it was Red Triangle Thing.
No.
Okay. It was
It was Red Pyramid Thing.
Okay.
And I was like, I came up with a better name when I called the thing Triangle Fucker years ago. That is a way better... Yeah, they call the statues that they're now selling Red Pyramid Thing. And I'm like, guys.
No, I'm sorry. I don't care. This is like when people try to tell me you can't keep calling it Mystic Gohan. It's Ultimate Gohan. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. That shit's locked in now.
Yeah, no, fuck off.
Yeah, no, that's... Yeah. But yeah, we have to play that version. I booted it up, and man, you sit there and go, I'm sure, despite the fog being completely gone in Silent Hill, it will look fine. You boot it up, and instantly you're like, I shouldn't see any of the shit that's on screen right now. In case you didn't know, the 7th gen port of Silent Hill 2 and 3 is just
famously
broken to hell. Hilariously, the Xbox version was eventually updated to put the original voices back in, but we're not playing it that way.
Of course not.
No.
Nice.
I need to experience Troy Baker. Aside from that, I don't have anything to talk about other than I played a lot of Overwatch 2. Me and Shibuya are like shooting up in the AM.
I have seen multiple articles about players of Overwatch 2 upset at Moira players doing way too much damage.
I mean, most of the time Overwatch 2 players are upset. So about what? Who knows? There's this guy. I've literally run into him 2, maybe 3 times just randomly. I do not know this man. But this one guy with the relatively, like, you see his username and you're like, right, that's the guy. Every time, if your tank switches who they're playing at any point in the match, he will piss and moan and basically make it sound like you're cheating. And that's Overwatch 2 players. He's like, oh, we owned you so hard, you changed who you were playing. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to be flexible.
Right.
It's called counterpicking.
Oh my god!
This is just the standard for all like Blizzard game players. Like it's just how being a fan of Blizzard games eventually makes you.
Oh, nice. You built a fucking aircraft carrier. Fucking good job, battle cruiser. You upgrade your Yamato gun. Fuck off.
Oh my god.
What?
I mean, this shit goes all the way back to World of Warcraft.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Like, you get ganked, you go grab your main. That's basically counterpicking.
But yeah, no, the main thing a lot of Overwatch players are upset about is they accidentally fucked up Bastion's new ult, which allowed you to pull it off infinitely. And since this new ult is literally dropping a nuke on a large circle of the map, and people just kept spamming it until the end of the round, they've removed him from the game. I'm like, you need to understand.
So locked up for war crimes. Understood.
Bastion is in my tool set of ways to solve specific problems in Overwatch. And now it's kind of like trying to do a hardware project. Like you're trying to fix something up around the house or build a thing. And every time you hit that situation where you go, if I just had a fucking screwdriver, like it feels like that playing Overwatch 2 right now. Every time it's just like, oh, cool. They picked 4 fucking shield bastards. Only I had the guy who deletes shield bastards. Every time. So you hope, like I do, that they pick D.Va and you just go out with Mei and you spray because the left click now kills. But yeah, maybe Bastion will make it back before the heat death of the universe.
Allegedly coming out next week. Come back. We'll see.
It shouldn't take that long to fix the ult in your game, but this game is clearly on fire to the point of, I thought my GPU was dying because the screen just went black multiple times, just for a few frames, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck's going on? And then I was co-hosting Shibuya Gato's stream earlier today, and then I saw it do that on her side, and I was like, oh, it's the fucking game, of course it is. Fucking broken piece of shit. But yeah, there are a lot of problems with Overwatch 2. Most of which is I'm playing it. But I would like to clarify yet again. People have instructed me. They've edified me. I've been edified. get edified. Ugh. You can customize the controls per hero on console to fix Moira's fucking hit R2 to use left hand and L2 to hit right hand. So that's fixing it. Who's to say I gave him money? What the fuck is with this chat right now? Assuming I'm fucking buying the shit. But yeah, anyways, Bob.
We played Blinks too. You didn't forget that.
You say that, and yet.
You also played Pokemon.
That's true. We did play Pokemon. We beat Sun and Moon.
That means you got to the point where Game Freak failed me harder than they have ever failed me.
I understand having gone through that moment now of, guys, really?
It sucks so bad.
We're going to talk about the end of Pokemon Moon. You beaten Pokemon Moon?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I beat Sun.
Sun, right.
I have taste.
Solgaleo, not a Lunala.
The moment where Lusamine fuses with the Ultra Beast, and I'm like, oh shit, this is some Shin Megami Tensei shit. Fuck yes, we're going. And then she's like, I'm still a trainer. We're gonna Pokemon battle.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah,
it did real hard.
It's still crazy they did that.
It causes a bad precedent. I don't care. Let me destroy this woman.
Yeah, it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I feel like the Pokemon should be more open to letting you battle things that are not Pokemon and that you can just beat. You can't catch. Like Ultra Beast shouldn't be catchable in my head.
I mean, I saw the police officer in 8th gen. I do believe I should be able to attack him with a wild animal.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a reason he's our thumbnail image for that fucking spoiler cast review.
We could have good things. You could have like the enemy team just roll out a tank. And it's like, no, you're Pokemon battling this tank,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of what's happening in 9th gen, right? They have like this Mad Max fucking vehicle, and you need to beat the Rotom out of it, basically, and then you can battle the person who's standing on it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was going to actually be gameplay or not, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure they showed battling against the vehicle itself before you battle the person on it.
Battle other shit. Give me like Final Fantasy X style. There's random shit in the environment I can interact with by shooting thunder at it or whatever.
Yeah.
They do a little bit of that in Arceus. Like there's the actual stuff you can, like rocks you can break with Pokemon and stuff like that.
That makes sense, given that Arceus is like the prototype for 9th gen.
Yes.
So that's exciting. Yeah, once again, need to reiterate, really excited for Scarlet Violet. That's going to be awesome. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Pokemon?
Not really.
Blinks 2. Blinks 2 will do one thing for you, and it's make you appreciate Blinks 1 even more. Blinks 2 is designed around multiplayer. Blinks 2 is designed around split-screen multiplayer. This game looks like ass compared to the first. We're talking completely flat floor, completely flat walls, really bad textures, and it has the worst and weirdest structure you can fucking imagine. This entire game, you are playing both as Blinks and the Time Sweepers, and the pigs who are pirates. And you will go through the same levels as each in a row. So it's not even a folklore situation where you could choose to keep playing the one character. It is literally go and get the crystal as the Time Sweepers. And then Blinks is like, okay, I'll leave this to you guys. I'm going to leave with main character dude. And then you leave, and then as the pigs, you then go ambush the 4 Time Sweepers who got that crystal so you can get that crystal. And this is the whole game. Over and over through 5 themed worlds.
Awesome.
The first game, to be clear, was more of a puzzle game than Scorn. And they've made it into this weird, kind of brain dead, much worse looking, kind of less interesting. They also, in streamlining the powers, they also made them less interesting in how they worked. Like a few different layers of how rewind or other functions or pause worked got stripped away to make it less frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bizarre. Yeah, I need to get that platinum hits version of Blinks 1 for sure.
The game that most reminded me of looking at it was those Japanese-only Ape Escape games that came after all the real ones.
Yeah, like the one that's like EDF.
Yes, the one where it's just like, this is really cheap. It's flat. It was probably $20 in Japan. Except this is the full sequel to a real game, supposedly.
Right. That EDF 8 escape, from what I played, was much better than Blinks 2.
Yeah.
Like it's weird and interesting in its own way, so that gives it value. I don't think there's any value in what Blinks 2 did, because the part I also haven't brought up yet is it commits one of the funniest tropes we've seen in streaming, like in our streaming careers. The funniest thing to me that a dev can do is, well, we made this for the multiplayer, so why wouldn't this boss be a team deathmatch map where you have to battle 4 AI-driven dudes that are brain dead? Like, anytime you do that, or you do a horde mode that is just the single player content is now horde mode for a set amount of time, it's just a weird integration of, we spent dev assets elsewhere and now it's good enough. That happens countless times playing through this.
That's more that's either half really, of the boss fights or more than half the boss fights.
That's really something I associate with 7th gen, because it happens in so many games in 7th gen.
Yeah.
Like Halo Reach, where every like most of the multiplayer maps are at some point just plopped into the campaign to be a combat arena, or Mass Effect 3, where every single side quest ends in a multiplayer map where it's like kill like 30 guys.
Yeah, so it was really weird to see that happen a gen early in a game that came out in 2004. It would have been nice if they did a normal sequel to Blinks, because Blinks 2, you spend the majority of the game not playing as Blinks because they have that pig.
Yeah, even when you're playing,
that's true.
Yeah, you never actually play as Blinks, which is insane.
You play as a time. You make a Blinksona.
Yes.
Oh, fuck me.
You make a Blinksona and a Pigsona, and then you play the game as those.
Awesome.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't know. Another thing that feels 7th gen of like
Forced multiplayer. Or?
Not forced multiplayer, but thinking that your create a character thing is better than a design character. And that's what people actually want to use.
I remember all of 7th gen being like, what happened to video game mascots?
Yeah.
This is a really weird comparison, because I didn't even play that much of this game, but that part made me think of White Knight Chronicles on the PS3, because they also have you design a silent character, but then it's a normal JRPG, but your created character is just standing there T-posing for the whole story.
It's pretty Game Freak of them.
Like, I remember White Knight Chronicles coming out and vanishing.
Yeah,
so
I know. That's how it was for me too. Where it was just like, I was excited because I loved level 5. You know, Dragon Quest 8, amazing. Dark Cloud, amazing. And then that game comes out and no one gives a shit. And I'm like, oh, it's that.
I remember they kept putting out trailers that were like, White Knight Chronicles is a JRPG. Give me your hand and I will explain to you what a turn-based game is.
It's not turn-based.
Really?
Yeah, no. It's like Final Fantasy 12, where it's an MMO but offline.
Well, that would explain why people weren't receptive. Okay.
In fact, there's White Knight Chronicles 2, which is also just White Knight Chronicles with more stuff. I think it's like White Knight Chronicles with an additional chunk of story at the end.
See,
it has like this weird multiplayer mode that you can only play with your creative character, and that you can team up with people online to do.
Oh.
Yeah, I sure wish they'd re-release that game on something so I could actually see what it is.
Didn't they announce, or was it White Knight 2? Oh wait, no. It was what is it? The Ghibli RPG.
Yeah, Ni no Kuni.
Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, Ni no Kuni 1's getting ported to anything that isn't a PS3.
Right.
Didn't that happen already? I'm pretty sure that happened already. I think it's the Switch. It just didn't come out on Switch, and now
or is it an Xbox thing? Was it announced during the Tokyo Game Show Xbox thing for Xbox? And that's why they're like, this is a huge deal. It came out on Switch.
Maybe?
Odd.
Yeah, maybe that's why you saw it recently. Because it's been on. It's already been on PS4 and stuff.
Why would we ask though for White Knight to get ported?
It didn't come out on Xbox until last month.
Why would we ask for White Knight to get ported when we could get Blue Dragon?
Blue Dragon's on back compat, and Microsoft owns it.
Wait, is it?
Yeah, I guess so.
No. What?
Yeah,
I could have been playing it this whole time.
Lost Odyssey 2, both those ones that Microsoft bankrolled are backward back compat, I think.
What? I had no idea about Blue Dragon. I probably knew about Lost Odyssey, but I did not know about Blue Dragon.
I might be wrong. Let's check.
Doomsday clock to getting Bob to stream Blue Dragon moves closer
Okay,
to midnight.
it's backwards compat. It's back
Okay,
compat,
cool.
It says.
Good. But hey, Bob.
What's up?
Blinks 2, any closing comments other than...
They sure did vampire out every bit of soul that was in that game.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's just completely gone. We ended up playing most of Cat Days is pigs killing cats. Disgusting.
That is true. They kind of fucked us on that one.
Yeah, you literally get a baseball bat and hit.
Yeah, it was one of the first things we did as a pig. They're like, now take this bat. And I'm like, oh my God. Here we go. Happy Catterday, everyone.
This goes against everything I learned in my script writing class.
And the pig stuff. 40% of it's stealth segments.
But really bad cells.
What pigs are really known for is their stealth.
Yeah, they sneak real good. Aside from that, they trying to make a more sane game, but then shifting it to also be multiplayer oriented. They sucked out all the soul of the original. What a bizarre creature. I totally understand why people would like one more, despite it not having a fucking lock-on mechanic. Which 2 has. Anyway, that's it for me. Bob?
Yeah.
You play anything?
I did play a few things. I got to play the First Descendant. The beta happened.
What is the First Descendant?
It's a Destiny-like from Nexon.
Okay.
Very, very Destiny-like. You play is a Descendant.
Which one?
Well, they're a group. You get to choose multiple characters that are Descendants.
Oh.
They are these individuals with special powers to defend the final city of humanity in a futuristic setting.
Okay.
From the forces of darkness.
Okay. All right.
Literally called that.
That's really neat.
All right.
It's very original. You go to a place that may be a dilapidated Russia.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Being invaded by space aliens and you kill them.
All right. Now, I think what's important for people to really imagine, because right now they're just imagining Destiny.
Yes.
So we need to add some layers. It's running on Unreal Engine 5, and it's made by a Korean company, right?
Yes, Nexon is Korean.
So combine it with some Korean free-to-play games in your brain and Unreal Engine 5, and you're starting to get closer.
Yeah, to differentiate, this is third person. You have a grappling hook.
Mm-hmm.
You can move around pretty well because of that. But that's really the main differences. Like, you still are picking up random loot, just like in Destiny. Has the loot system very much like that. Instead of having character classes, you choose actual literal characters. And each of them have different powers. Like, I chose this girl who had ice powers, but you can switch on the fly. Like, you can go to your menu and switch to other characters you have, and they all level up individually.
You're just looking at it now, aren't you?
Hey, look, that's edgy Destiny. The first image I have is a guy with bullhorns. I'm like, fuck off.
That's really great. It's really interesting to look at your PC try to run it.
Yeah, because my PC cannot.
No.
It should not in any world run this game. I run it at 720p low settings. It looks like a complete joke.
Yeah, it does. Especially when FSR was on. It was basically a smeared thumbnail you were playing in real time.
Yeah, FSR did not make it run much better, but made it look
way worse. Yeah,
way worse.
FSR 1.0, should it exist?
That was 2. It was SFR 2.0.
What the fuck? Yeah, okay. All right, sure.
It just turned the whole thing into goo.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, you guys. But yeah, what is your GPU again? 1060?
Yeah, 1060.
Okay, so there you go, guys. You can play it at 720p, barely above 30 frames per second because the hitches and drops are nonstop.
Yeah, no, it
runs better than Gotham Knights.
In combat zones. I was holding between 50 and 58 in that range.
Yeah.
It was pretty playable, but then you go to the home to the tower.
It's not the same. It better not be the tower. They're gonna get fucking sued.
Albion is totally different.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's like, I can't handle this. There are other human players here. I'm running below 30.
Cool. Your home tower thing has other human players. Are they instanced perhaps? And you can just run to the different wings of it and be like,
They actually, it seems like a better design because it's all one area that all the upgrade stuff is right there in one place. You don't have to run to different wings.
Well, Destiny 2 was a lot better about that because you had the farm.
That's true.
And the farm was a lot more, you can just go there. Meanwhile, Destiny 1's like, go down this hallway and then down this hallway and then take another turn and then you're there. Unless you need this part, in which case you need to run up those stairs and all the way up those stairs. And then you're there. And then you realize you are at the wrong place because you thought that was in the other place.
God, I'm trying to remember Destiny 1's hub.
How do I fucking describe? So you're clearly at the top of the tower. So behind you is just skyscape. You see the top of the city.
Was that 1 too? Because I remember that.
Yeah, that was
2.
1. No, I was in 1. But
eventually, they add the original tower into
They
2.
do.
Okay.
Yes.
So you might be confusing with
Yeah, that's
something.
probably what's going on then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then that'll do it. Because 2 starts on the farm.
Yeah.
But they eventually added the tower to 2 because they deleted the content that would have made the farm make sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, how is the game?
I enjoyed it, but it is a lot of run to this place. We will spawn enemies. Run to the next place where we spawn enemies.
Yo, it's Guns the Duels campaign.
Kind of.
Holy shit.
That's about it, though. It's not too engaging. The powers all feel really weak. Like from the character I played, of like, okay, I have cool ice powers. I shoot a ice ball out. It doesn't kill anything. And they're a little frozen, but they can still move mostly.
Anthem.
Oh, you can't hostile to them after you freeze them.
No, even if they're fully frozen, which can happen from some other abilities, they still take you still have to do the whole health bar.
What if you say a line from like Demolition Man? Can you do that then?
No.
Damn.
There's an ability you can get where it makes the ground under you freeze. And it's like, it makes her run faster too. And I'm like, it seems like you wanted her to be ice skating on this.
Mm-hmm.
But instead she's just rock cycling faster.
Yeah. That's way easier actually. So I get it.
That was disappointing. I bet a lot of these would look really cool on like if I had a real next gen graphics card.
Right.
Because it is obviously UE5 stuff, but they turned off all the effects.
Specifically because 1060, people may not realize that is 3 generations old now. So that's not even.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call that a next gen graphics card. A graphics card that came out in the last 9 years or something. I don't know. I can't remember when the 1060 came out in the 1000 series, but my card should be, as far as I know, one of the latest of the 1000s, and it came out 6 years ago. So
yeah.
But this game is free to play, right?
I don't know if they made that clear. I'm not sure.
But the early access thing you're doing,
that's free because the beta, you just jump onto Steam and you can sign up for the beta right through there. And I did check that they were like on their Discord, like, there's no NDAs. Please tell everyone about the game, please.
Smart.
Yeah,
that's very smart.
I don't see that enough.
No, I mean, there are a lot of publishers around the world who don't realize how much having people talk about your game can help, no matter whether it's positive or negative. Please enjoy Scorn, aggro.
Other than the weapons that are randomly dropped like Destiny, there's also a rune system where it's just a bunch of little, like, oh, this gets you 10% more when you use this exact power in this way. And it's like,
fuck off.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
We need to get over this shit.
Yeah. So that's not encouraging, but I like using the grappling hook, and I'm excited to try this on the PS5. The mouse and keyboard support's really good. Using controllers really doesn't seem like it's working right yet.
Does it have settings?
No, you can't change the button config on controller, which is insane.
But you can't change that fucking aim sensitivity?
You can change the aim sensitivity.
Because holy shit, that started by default at the most hilariously slow turn speed I had seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is this actually made in Japan? Like, usually Korea's better.
This is a 7th gen shooter right here. 7th gen Japanese shooter. Where you just hold the right stick and it takes you 10 whole seconds to turn to 360.
But yeah, if you max out the sensitivity, that starts to feel more normal.
Okay.
But you cannot change the button config. The button config is terrible because, like, how do you melee attack? You hit L1 and R1 at the same time. Both of these do things individually.
No.
When you hit multiple buttons, that shit better be an ult.
Yeah, no, it's your melee, which is not like some massive thing. It's
not a world
melee
ender.
attack. No.
Ah, who would have thought that your melee attack wasn't its own ultimate? Is it like the Scorn melee attack where it goes 2 inches in front of you and you can't figure out? Okay, that's
No, it's nothing's that. It
That's
has a
true.
minor cooldown, but it's not like wait 30 seconds. But that's it for First Descendant.
So what, do you fucking recommend people check it out, or did you have a good time?
I am excited to see it on something that can actually run it. So I do absolutely suggest people check it out. I think the art is pretty cool. Like the idea.
Please play this game and then send me pictures of how it really looks.
Yeah, basically.
Bob's like, I had a vision of what the game might be. I can't wait to see it for real someday.
Yeah, no,
I mean, they explicitly say this is an Unreal Engine 5 game.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me, like, in the Google searches, I swear to God, somebody was like, yeah, it uses nanite. And I'm like, that thing shouldn't run on Bob's PC at all if it's using nanite. That's got to be bullshit. That can't be real. It would run like Gotham Knights on Bob's PC if it used nanite and lumens, which they said both, but I'm like, no, bullshit.
Maybe it has lots of graphic settings. Maybe it goes all the way up to that.
No. I'm sorry, Bob. There's no way. I find it highly unreal, the concept of they have lumens, but they also just built all of the lighting for the game outside of that, and it toggles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like I believed that Gotham Knights probably never made the version that runs without ray tracing at all, but then you find out that's what the Series S is running. I'm like, then put that on the normal consoles and maybe it'll run well, you jackasses.
Never. We cannot compromise like that.
That recontextualizes the notion, and I haven't confirmed the receipts on this at all, but people were saying one of the devs for Gotham Knights was on Twitter basically trying to blame the Series S. And I'm like, that kind of explains that if they had to make a version that runs without ray tracing and the other two versions literally need that to run. But I'm sure for PC, they would have had to
Yeah, I know. It's like they have PC specs that go down like to the
Gotham
1600 something.
Gotham Knights is literally like the least plausible game to point at and be like, that's why the Series S sucks. And I'm like, that? It was supposed to ship on a PS4 5 months ago. Technically, it was supposed to ship a year ago, but they announced it wasn't shipping on the PS4 and the Xbox One only 5 months ago. Anyway. You play anything else?
Yes.
What else are you playing?
I played Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Ooh.
This was a game on the PlayStation Plus this month. I'm not sure where it came out. I feel like it was pretty recent, like last year at earliest.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I was like, it was like December or January. So
Yeah, so I'm surprised it's already on here, but then I boot it.
Uh-huh.
And I figure out pretty quick while it's already on here.
Uh-huh.
First thing you do when this game boots up, open your loot box. First one's free.
I mean, to be fair, it is a Hot Wheels game. That kind of almost makes sense when you think about it. Of like, the Hot Wheels, you gotta collect all these.
Don't give in.
I'm like, when I think Hot Wheels, I think being a collector and that you know what you're buying. You just need to pay for it.
Well, yeah, that was old school. We've evolved a past letting you know what you're giving us money for.
It's not that old school. I still had those people coming in when I worked at GameStop.
Yeah, because they were troglodytes. Real people will just give me money, assuming eventually they'll get what they want. Patreon.com/GigaBoots.
So you...
So loot box out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, that loot box.
Uh-huh.
And then, like all racing games now, it's like, I have to show you in a race immediately. I can't just let you see how the systems of the games work before that. I can't let you see menus. So then you place your race before you structure the game.
It's weird because, like, for me, Burnout Revenge is the worst case of we just won't let you play the fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is kind of like, what was it? Forza Horizon 5 does the same thing.
This. And like, please just
find an in between.
Yeah, have some sort of confidence in your game and people be able to find how to play a race. I will be ready for it when
Right. Like, it's weird. To be fair, technically, Gran Turismo 7 does the same thing, but it's so classy and interesting about how it does it that it kind of like comes off as cool. As they're like, you're still installing the game. So for this first thing, you're just going to play the time trial music thing we designed for this game.
Oh, yeah, and that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool
It's
as
a cool new
shit.
mode instead of just, here's the race.
And it's like classical techno. It was good. It was good. But, what else is the rest of this? Like, loot box. It throws you in a race immediately, and then what?
Yeah, then you get to the world map, and it immediately is like, hey, check out this cool stuff. There's a Batman mode. There's a Looney Tunes mode. You can go, I think Ghostbusters was in there, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I get to the world map. I try to go there. It's like, give me $8. Give me $15.
Okay, so none of those are in the game.
Yeah, no, there's in the game.
Well, that would explain why it's free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, then you go to the first real race, and it shows you all the cars you own, and then a menu filled with cars you can buy with real money.
All right.
So once you get past all the obvious microtransaction stuff that's heinous levels of in your face, the game actually feels pretty good. Like it's a pretty fun racer. It's got a mechanic kind of like Mario Kart where you time the start and you get a boost, but instead of giving you just an immediate burst of speed at the beginning of the race, it maxes out your boost meter because it has boost meter a lot like Burnout and Ridge Racer, where you do drifting to get written boost. It feels pretty good. It runs at like 60. It looks clean. It has a really weird thing where it's extremely punishing for leaving the track. Like if you fall off the racetrack, you might as well restart the race. Because there is a button to respawn, but that puts you in 12th place, basically always.
Oh.
And you get stuck off the racetrack pretty easily because they do.
Because it's a Hot Wheels track.
It's Hot Wheels track. They're literally jumps.
Yeah.
And they have all sorts of cool air control stuff. It's like, there's no race you've made. I played like an hour plus of this game. There was not a racetrack they made where you could use most of this because you do like barrel rolls and stuff. It's like if I try to do that, I'm flying off in the other direction. I'm not making it onto the track. But other than that, it's pretty cool. You actually do need to get good at racing in this because if you leave the track, you're dead. You get to customize your basement, which is actually like a location that you like have a kitchen and all this other stuff in.
Yeah.
And you get a bunch of different little options to change furniture and textures on stuff. Like you can make your doors different colors and your steps different styles. Like you get a marble staircase instead of a wooden one, but it's like 2 steps. So calling a staircase is a little much.
I assume this is a room that all of the Hot Wheels tracks are in.
There is a track that's set in this room. Like there's a set of tracks because they'll build out Hot Wheels tracks and use different environments. Like there seem to be 3 or 4 different like large environments that are these Hot Wheel tracks set in. So you get to mess with this one of them, which is pretty neat.
When you got to the customizing of the countertop for the kitchen area, where it's just like you can choose this type of marble or this type of granite or whatever, I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's cool as shit. Graphics are cool.
And there's also like a create a track mode. I didn't mess with that though, so I can't go tell you how in depth it is if it's like full on Trackmania. I doubt it's that good, but if they let you mess with this whole area, maybe.
The bar here really is Mod Nation Racers, I'm afraid. So
I've been sitting here not wanting to be the first one to bring up Mod Nation Racers again.
Now that aggro's on Big Think regularly, I'm just gonna bring it up all the fucking time.
But yeah, other than all that DLC stuff, it seems pretty neat. Also, the only other way to get more cars, other than loot boxes, is a shop that I think changes out daily what's in it. Like on a timer with the internet to be like, hey, now there's another 5 cars available. It's like, that's not fun. I don't have... Like, I see other people driving the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. I'm like, I want that. And that won't happen. I can't make that happen.
Well, no, you can't, Bob. You fucked up. You need to watch the shop every day. Because the more you open the shop, the better our game is doing.
Yes.
That's how metrics work.
I feel like so many developers had their minds shattered. Where it's like, you need to boot my $60 mostly single player game every day. And it's like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And if you want that from me, I just won't engage with your game. I just will skip it.
Yeah.
And you can really tell this used to be even worse because their cash rewards they're listed for beating each race. But those are separate from another cash reward you get from beating the race. Because on the world map, it shows you, oh yeah, you get like 42 gold for beating this one. And then you play the race, and at the end of the race, you get like 400 gold. And then it still tells you, oh, here's your reward for beating the race, your 42 gold. I'm like, oh, that was the original value, wasn't it?
Ooh.
And each vehicle is like 1,000 plus.
Yeah, that would be as bad as everyone said Gran Turismo 7 was.
Yeah.
That would actually live up to that reality of it's ridiculous. You can't get a car. And I'm like, I can't because I don't suck. But no, really, if it was like 42 and you're talking 1,000, that is a lot of fucking races.
Yeah.
For a car, was it a special, like, really good one you were looking at, or just a fucking car?
That was pretty basic. There were ones over that. I guess there were some even more basic around 500. But again, there's only like 5 things to shop at once. So you don't have a large selection here. You can't just think about it.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right.
It's really unfortunate this game that's pretty cool is held down by all these insane business decisions.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I actually do think it's a pretty fun racing game. Like,
yeah, no, it looked good. It looked really good when I saw people playing it.
Yeah, it's like actually got some decent drifting mechanics. And like I said, the only weird part is how brutal it is for leading me the track.
Yeah, it's kind of weird just thinking about how many of these racing games have gotten really weird about microtransactions.
I know, right?
Is like one of the things, because once again, the Gran Turismo 7 controversy was this year because the game came out this year. I'd never thought it was anywhere near as scummy as a Forza Horizon feels like, where they're like, open the loot box and have fun, and we're going to introduce you into this ecosystem right now. It's like, no, the game has a story thing it's doing, and then it introduces, hey, you're going to want one of these types of cars. Go get that. You have more than enough money to do it.
Right.
Like, I spent 20 hours before I remotely dug into any of the I got the good edition, so I got extra credits. Like, I spent 20 hours or something playing that game before I remotely dug into that. And I didn't need to. All I would have to do is just go redo 2 races, and I would have had enough. But, like, every time I think about it, it's just like, is every racing game forever just like this now? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the new Need for Speed going to do? How is it going to accomplish that same loop?
Yeah, I feel like he had some of this DNA in it already, so I would not be surprised if they also continue with it.
Yeah.
It sucks so bad that multiplayer games just can't be a package anymore. Like, no, they have to have the web of evil microtransactions.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, this is just a Hot Wheels game. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I guess there's part of it is, well, it's a Hot Wheels game. We can play on shoulder.
I'm going to say something. This is supposed to sound detached or condescending. I don't know. You could read it either way based on how people usually... Do children still buy Hot Wheels?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because
if you work at a toy store, if those still exist...
like, I'm working at GameStop, we started selling Hot Wheels, and it was just those older dudes who were collectors, probably from when they were kids.
Okay.
I don't know if it went on to a new generation. I really don't.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anything else?
Yes, I played Super Hot. That was the other PlayStation Plus game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that is it.
I did not know that game was like, I don't know, 2 hours long?
Yeah.
Somewhere around that?
That's the only reason I didn't buy it at launch was people were like, it's 2 hours long. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's like, I can kind of get what's cool about the game just from looking at it. And I don't need to spend whatever it was.
Right.
Because that game came out when I was still Dan who has no money. Like, at all, even vaguely. So I couldn't afford to buy a game that was only 2 hours long, where the gimmick is really interesting, but you instantly get all gratification just seeing it work. And then they were like, we have a VR version. I'm like, fuck.
Did the VR version come later?
Yes.
Because it feels like a game where this makes sense in VR.
Right.
It's not selling me that hard outside of VR.
And that's the thing. That's basically what the dev found out. Like, a lot of people saw the game. They're like, oh, this is great. It would be completely sick in VR. And everyone, So we're gonna make that.
But for people who don't know, Superhot's this first-person shooter was a cool aesthetic with everything being like white and red. And when you move, the world moves. But if you stop, the world slows down to bullet time. And that's the gimmick.
Yeah, like time only passes when you move.
Yeah, and it ramps up and ramps down with your momentum also. So it doesn't instantly go to full speed when you start to move.
Right.
So, you're trying to dodge a bullet, get a shot off, and kill the other people, which are these red beings, correct?
Right.
In this completely white world that's pretty office building looking, with this rudimentary geometrical look to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the very first iteration was a browser game.
Oh, really?
I think you're right.
I remember playing that browser game being like, this is really fucking cool. And they're like, here's the game. And then people was like, it's 90 minutes and they want like $40 for it. And I'll be like, maybe later.
Yeah. I'm still interested in playing the VR version.
Yeah, I think that the gameplay here is pretty fun and really neat.
Yeah.
There's not enough of it, and it keeps wanting to interrupt with its meta story, which it thinks is very smart. I'm like,
well, you gotta have a story.
Yeah, I'm like, this is kind of neat. I'd rather just play your game. Your game is fun. You don't need to try and sell me on you being smart.
Bob, this came out during that era. They absolutely needed to.
Yeah, I know.
It's like if Baba Is You had needed to have an extra layer to the story that it just interrupted you playing the game with. And it's like, no, it's fine. Baba Is Me. I get it.
And then once you beat it, you unlock challenges in endless mode. Mm-hmm. I thought the challenge would be like, oh, you're going to make special maps for this or just for this challenge mode. No.
Bob got so mad he punched his mic.
Challenges are play through the whole game. All you can use is the katana weapon.
The whole game?
The whole game.
Not like one level at a time?
I mean, it's one level at a time, but you do it all in a row.
And you have to do it all in a row. You can't start at...
It doesn't seem like you can start it later. I don't know.
This is a pretty important question, in my opinion, because that's the difference between I will never touch this and I could see myself maybe booting and picking it up every now and again.
Yeah, it might have a thing where it checkpoints you between levels. I'm not sure.
Because in their right fucking mind wants to sit down and be like, I want to play the special version of the game that's 90 minutes straight from the very beginning until the end.
I mean, that's a lot of Neon White's challenge modes also, where it's
the
like play this
game?
entire chunk of levels. No, because the entire level game is like 10 hours long.
Okay.
But it was like, okay, play this hour-long chunk of levels. If you die, it's over.
Wow. And then the endless mode is pretty neat because there's like, here's a combat arena, and we'll just throw dudes in.
Does it play Burly Brawl?
No, it doesn't. I don't know why. I guess they couldn't get it.
Unfortunately.
There's so many scenes in this. There's like that. It sure is a scene from the Matrix.
This bullet time game sure does reference the Matrix a lot.
Yes, I know. No reason to say it, but it's still funny.
Well, they had to primarily reference the Matrix because they didn't have the visuals to have someone look at the camera and make the Max Payne face.
That's true. That sort of fidelity is rarely achieved in video games.
But that's everything I played.
Okay, cool. Oh, thank God. Hey, Agra. Have you been playing anything?
I mean, the only thing, I'm nearing the end in Cyberpunk. It is in sight. I hit the go do all your side quests before you do this point. I also found Rebecca Edgerunner's shotgun.
Nice.
It is a legendary power shotgun called Guts.
Nice.
And it fucking deletes people.
Yes, as it should.
As it
one of the
should.
ones it's one of the ones you can charge, right?
No, it's not tech. It's power. It ricochets.
Oh,
I'm not sure it has sights on it. You just hold the barrel up to your face and people disappear.
All that exists now is you and the gun.
It is so fucking good.
I'm really glad you're getting accustomed to this version that you're playing. And the reason is, maybe, just maybe, I might end up with the only 4090 that fits in my PC. And if so, that means I could bring you over to look at that psycho ray trace mode and be like, Aggro, does it make fucking sense for this mode? Like, is your ass blown right now? Like, what is this? Does this do a thing for you? because that shit makes your game run like absolute garbage.
I will. I said last week that I got my build to finally come online with cyber hacking and all that shit.
Yes.
I have become a god.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I can just walk into an area and see someone from across the map and turn them off.
Oh, that's
all of
good.
your cameras don't work. Your turrets belong to me now.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty fucking great.
It sounds like this is what you like played the rest of the game for.
It is.
Yeah.
Like
That's great. That's really good.
Like I picked up this game on a lark. And it takes a while to learn all of the fucking systems enough to feel like you're playing the game competently. But once it comes online and you start digging into the stories and the characters, I'm like, wow, the back half of this game is fucking great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, when he finishes it, Bob, and then the video card allegedly arrives. I'm a pessimist. Can you tell? Like, trusting people. Allegedly arrives. You're gonna have to play your version on the PS4. And that way, anytime you look over here.
Oh, on the PS4?
Yeah, the PS4.
Oh no.
That way, anytime you look over, actually, which version do you have? Is that a PS5 disc or is that?
It's a PS4 disc. So we could.
Why? Why you want to force that on Bob?
That would be the funniest stream. People donate bits and donate to make a Switch which version we're playing. The thing that looks like future technology or the one that's just coughing. Do you want Cyberpunk Psycho RT or Cyberpunk Lymphona? Like,
yeah. Do you have your old PS4? Because I just have the Pro.
I do. In fact, I have access to two PS4s.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, launch PS4 Cyberpunk 2077 versus.
Okay, $100 donation makes us turn off the cataracts for an hour.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, for anyone who missed me describing in the past how powerful that 4090 is, that shit is 8 times as powerful as a PS5. Right?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's kind of disgusting.
It is absolutely filthy. For anyone who's like, Dan, quick question, why? The fun fact, the lower tier GPUs actually don't make sense for the dollar. So you could pull back and get like a 4080, but based on all the numbers we have, performance-wise, it doesn't value-wise make sense with the price they're charging. So if you think of GPUs like I do, of buy it and let it sit in your system for like 6 years, it kind of makes sense to go with this sick son of a bitch and just write it out until PS6 if you can.
That's what I did when I bought a 1080.
PS7 if you can, yes. Right. Digital Foundry and other places have described this thing as the point where it's like every game ever is solved. Turn all the settings up, hit 4K. It will be fine.
That's insane.
Every game ever. Which I seem to like. Maybe I'm trying to build a layer or a narrative, extrapolate some function within him that does not exist. But the way I perceive it, this has changed Alex Battaglia. Because at some level he realized these games aren't challenging the hardware anymore. We need to evolve. And this is what brought up within him the take of maybe it's good that Gotham Knights runs like shit. Game comes out. Never mind.
Yeah, I was like, can this thing run Gotham Knights?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that game's designed and programmed so poorly.
I mean, I'm sure it will have horrible frame times, like inconsistent like spikes and shit. But
and it's inevitably going to have the cache problem where it's like you saw something new.
Yeah, shader compilation.
Over.
Yeah, the shader compilation issue, which it's not on Unreal Engine 4, so that's something.
Is it not?
Oh wait, it might still be based on their Unreal Engine 3 tech,
right?
I don't know. Maybe it is 4. Maybe it is 4. Yeah. Because here's the thing. Rocksteady, I don't know if Arkham Knight was 4. I think Arkham Knight was 4.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it was. Because I watched the Digital Foundry Gotham Knights video today, and they're like, Gotham Knights has this one thing that does really good because that's a default feature of Unreal 4. And then it's like, And Arkham Knight doesn't do that so good because they didn't have Unreal 4.
Yeah, it is 7 years ago, so that makes sense.
Right. Man, yeah. Anyways, did you play anything else?
Nope.
Cool. Hey, Chris, what'd you play?
I mostly played things we've already talked about. I played a little bit more Valkyrie Elysium. That's still fine. I haven't beaten it yet. I played a bunch of No More Heroes PS5. And it is weird, as Dan said last week. It's weird how that game is like a really good showcase of everything the PS5 has going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the last game you expect to do that, right?
I mean, fuck. That's the game that loads levels in a second and a half, and Gotham Knights is the game that loads for 20 seconds.
Oh. Was summoning your bike a cutscene on the Switch?
No.
Okay, because I was like, man, it sure just teleports in there instantly with no fanfare. It doesn't even freeze you in place.
They're like gameplay above literally everything.
I'm like, wow, it's great how Call of Battle now runs correctly because that weird filter on it does not destroy it.
Yeah, it still looks like absolute fucking shit. Call of Battle is easily the worst thing.
Look like a war movie, I guess. Maybe.
Right?
I guess that's what they wanted that to look like.
I made the joke to Bob while I was playing it. I'm not sure if you remember this, Bob, but I'm playing through it. And I'm like, you think at some point in development, Suda talking to his staff's like, can you make it look worse? And they looked at him and with confidence said, no.
120 frames per second sure makes the fucking musical chair fight against Velvet Chair Girl a lot easier.
God, I bet.
Yeah.
I also finally figured out why I kept having so much fucking trouble keeping track of myself in that little mini game. They really want you to stay on the bottom half of the screen.
Uh-huh.
So when you hit you're walking in a big circle, it's musical chairs.
Yeah.
When you get to the half of the circle that would be the top half of the screen, the perspective shifts.
Yeah, it cuts like 90 or 180 degrees. And
it's 90 degrees. It cuts 90 degrees and it's unbelievably jarring.
It is so jarring. I'll fuck you up.
I finished my playthrough of Mario Galaxy. Yeah, Odyssey's the best. I don't know what to tell people.
Yeah, I keep saying this.
I like Galaxy a lot, but just something about the series of mini planets is not as cool as having like a full level.
Yeah, it's not.
I always adore that about Odyssey. Where a lot of series, a new game comes out, and you're like, okay, where do we rank this in the grand history of it? Odyssey hit the ground like a fucking fact.
It's like, no, that's I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just the best one.
The movement's also really good, especially compared to Galaxy.
I told this story like once before since, and I'll tell it again. That is the only video game that's made me cry because of how good it is. Because part of me convinced myself it just couldn't get that good ever again. Odyssey is such an unbelievably great game in so many ways. Tosha's just like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'm in a room with 4 other dudes. Don't let them know I'm crying.
You can really see like the slow evolution of like Mario. We should have a ridiculous movement tech in this game.
Yeah.
But like after playing Mario 64 a bunch on that PC version, Sunshine, and then Galaxy, it's like, no, Odyssey is just the best one. I'm sorry.
It is. The movement feels great. The only problem is that there is not more game. Like there should have been Odyssey 2. Like that game is so delightful. Yeah, please just give me more of that. Like
it really sucks that Nintendo very obviously considers those ports, the 3D All-Stars collection and the 3D World port, as filling the same spot so they don't need to make another 3D Mario.
There's entirely a possibility that maybe with the Switch 2 they have a sequel to that's even more nuts planned.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like that's our only hope.
Yeah.
Nintendo did say, like we covered it, where they're like, we're colossally expanding our development capabilities. Like their language was like, it's going to more than double. Because Nintendo shipped a lot of good games on the Switch, but like spin-offs have died. pretty much.
Yeah.
Because it seems like once again they didn't seem to fully understand how many people making a console game, a modern console game takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we gotten some Kirby spin-offs and some Mario parties, but I feel like that's it.
That's the essence of both of those franchises.
Yeah,
where's Link's crossbow training?
Right.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any weird Zelda spin-offs. Like they've had to go outside and be like, Omega Force, make us a Warriors game, and that'll be the spin-off for Zelda and Fire Emblem.
Yeah, there's that and the Hyrule rhythm game based on
there's the Cadence of Hyrule, and there's that,
and they had the Link's Awakening thing.
Link's Awakening, which was just
but we don't have anything like Triforce Heroes or Phantom Hourglass or anything like that. We don't have any like smaller scale spin-offs anymore.
Right, and there's no Link Between Worlds because the fucking Link's Awakening is a remake. Link's Between World, despite just borrowing a lot of shit from Link to the Past, is a new game.
Yeah, it's still a new game. It's very similar, but it's
right.
So that's a new game.
We don't even get that tier.
Yeah, no.
Which is really unfortunate.
It's still upsetting that plays way better than Link's Awakening remake. It's like you made the perfect gameplay for a top-down 2D style Zelda, and then you're like, let's show it away.
Yeah, let's seal that in the 3DS dimension. That's a good plan.
I'm hoping, if nothing else, the fact that they're running out of Wii U games to port. It's like, oh shit, we gotta start making actual entries in these franchises again.
Yeah.
Or give me Wind Waker, you sons of bitches.
That has to be soon.
No.
Like there's no way that isn't gonna happen. That they're just waiting for it to fill a yearly Zelda slot.
They're waiting until me and Bob break down. Well, actually, no. Twilight Princess is the one we didn't get on the Wii U because you got Wind Waker HD, I'm pretty sure. You didn't?
I don't think so. Pretty sure not.
I thought the whole thing was we had Wind Waker HD on tap. We just didn't need that. But Twilight Princess, when we were talking about the Zelda month, was like, fuck. I guess Twilight Princess makes more sense to get on the Wii U than Wind Waker, even just because Wind Waker on the Wii, or Twilight Princess on the Wii, you have to waggle.
Yeah.
So Twilight Princess on the Wii U would at least remove that. Okay, real quick. I haven't seen footage specifically of the Wii U one in a really long time. Twilight Princess HD.
Uh-huh.
Is it the correct dimension or is it Evil Link?
Is it flipped?
Yeah, I think it's back to being not flipped. I think it's right.
So
I think it's based on the GameCube.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah. But that thing's like $100 or $80 on disc, and it's like, oh my god, please.
Yeah, just port those, please.
Nope, Skyward Sword.
I did play I did play a couple entirely new things though.
Oh?
I made the incredibly foolish decision to buy Gauntlet on the PS4.
Ooh.
Did you know there was a Gauntlet game on PS4?
Yeah,
of course.
Yes. It was good. I liked it.
I did not. A friend of ours, not him. A friend of ours was like, "Hey, we need to have some multiplayer game on the PS4." This is early PS4 days. So I think this is the first 2 years the PS4 is out.
Yeah.
So we get that and we try it, and I remember just being like, "At this point, I would rather play Seven Sorrows to go this far in this direction, or Legacy to play go this far in this direction." For some reason, it's like in the middle between those two on a combat thing, but much closer to the originals. So what was your experience playing it now? Because I haven't played it in 7 years.
It has that shitty, jokey narration that was popular at the time.
Oh, God,
I forgot this entirely.
Oh, wow.
Where like your character will be like, "Thank goodness that all these zombies can't stop me. Oh, fuck." And like a bunch will come up or something. Like it has that going on. It looks really boring visually.
So Matt Hazard's in it. That's cool.
They took out like there's no leveling.
Yeah, that frustrated me.
It's like Gauntlet doesn't have that many things and you took one out.
This isn't soup anymore. You have fed me salt water.
So I only played for like an hour. Luckily, it was only I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't $5 on like the PSN sale.
Oh, okay, that's cool. At least it was
So I
only
didn't.
$5.
I didn't waste. I didn't waste a huge amount of money. But yeah, it's just, man, this isn't very good.
Yeah,
I also like when's Dark Legends 2 WB Games, who owns Gauntlet.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah. It is
Yeah, because I was like,
frustrating with WG
please
games.
be Embracer, please be Embracer, please be Embracer, but no.
Nope.
Yeah, that just felt so weirdly low budget. Like that's not a place where you can come into the Gauntlet and be impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It felt more like they were trying to be like a Dead Nation or something. And that,
in order to be a Dead Nation, you would have to have a full, long, linear level you go through and some sort of story.
I know. It's not. I didn't say it was as good as Dead Nation.
Yeah,
it was the same. Like, they turned it into a twin stick. That's not that exciting.
Yeah, for me, it always just came off as like they really tried to cue it closer to the originals, like 1 and 2. I grew up with Gauntlet 2 on the NES, and despite doing that, all my nostalgia's for 64, all my nostalgia's for Legends. Not Dark Legacy though. They just changed the soup enough where I was like,
I played one other thing. Chasm the Rift came out on Steam. Chasm the Rift is an old boomer shooter that was like, we can't make a game like Quake, so we're gonna make a game like Doom, but with 3D models and trick people.
Did
our game
Sibby
isn't
play this?
even yes, he did. And this game isn't even actually 3D. Like, it's one of those pseudo 3D games, like the original Doom, but it uses 3D models as visuals.
Yeah, so it's like 2D sprites of 3D models.
No, they're actual 3D models. It's just something like the internally inside.
Okay, so
it's not 3D space because there's no height. Everything's flat.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like it. I only played it like 90 minutes, and then I Steam refunded it. Honestly,
okay.
Like, it's basic. Other than the novelty of, look at this weird tech thing they made.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean,
like, it's not even as good as Doom 1.
I was gonna say, if you want the novelty of look at this weird tech thing they made, don't we have like I know it's very RTX, so you need like a 2000 or newer series graphics card, but they have like all those weird versions of Doom where it's like ray traced and voxel graphics for the sprites. I think that's cool as shit.
There's like source ports of Doom 2 that have that, like Doomsday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it was just really tight industrial corridors full of hit scanners. So I'm like, I'm not really into this.
Let me go look this up to see if it is the exact TV video I'm thinking of.
Did you play anything else?
No, that was all.
My phone has decided not to load any pictures. Oh well.
I guess that means it's time for the news. Oh wait. Oh fuck.
Oh fuck.
What's happening? The Podlords. Ah!
Oh shit.
Yes, that's right. The Podlords. I forgot what I wrote here.
Oh god.
Podlords such as E. Lee Broyles, Corey Brown. Gene Caria assures you this Dustbuster Fist is part of the plan.
Looks so goddamn goofy.
Red Blaze 27, Suzushiro, Ember Zero, Shibuya Gato, Dignified and Graceful,
Yes, they are.
101 Shades of Wonderful remastered. WTF, Spider-Man. I've just been pineapple pizza pilled at 11:29 today. Proud to be a Canadian for the first time.
That's a Canadian thing?
That's what Canadians say.
Weird.
BN12. I am the pot of my lord. Cursed is my content, and chugged is my bleach. As I pray unlimited big thick dimensions. Happy Shiro Day.
Jesus. When's this guy's Silent Hill coming out?
I don't know. DFW 3K. Sure, I could defend myself like an adult, but what if I stick my dick in this blender and make a new games as a service game from the meat? When Ichigo acknowledges your existence in important canon scenes. Oh yeah, it's all come together.
Flawless edit.
Agro, did you do this on your phone?
I could not achieve something like this on my phone.
Kristen. Adam here. My impending mirage this Saturday has me mushy, so wanted to say thank you to all of you for the content. It helps. Kyle Bjork. Iron Aggro. Blig de Blue. Schligda's Poo. Monster Hunter, Ryzen and Raiden. My bit was soured, so enjoy my girlfriend's cat. Look at the cat!
I will, yeah.
Cat.
I approve. Bloober Team's James Sunderland.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's sure how he fucking looks.
It really is.
That is terrible.
Exclusive footage of the Netflix board meeting when they decide to try to make a cloud gaming service.
That's way too little money.
Me, unsure how to feel about the Bayo 3 or Silent Hill 2 news. Yoji Shinkawa collabed with Magic the Gathering to make sick alternative art, and I think you all should know. This is pretty fucking good. This guy is his own big think dimension. Within him exists multitudes of terabytes of funk. Indigo Sykes. Drive Typecast. Me when people talk about unitization in the game industry. This may have been censored for YouTube. I can tell you now, it's from Scorn. I feel like a fucking celebrity in this town. The queen has fallen ho. Long live the king of Frost He-Ho. Chainsaw Raccoon. He's so strong. Lock the Chest is here to give you a wish on the banner. Sorry, but you lost the 50-50. Wah wah. Shinji 16 is busy being overwhelmed while trying to kill a god in Hyper Demon, the sequel to Devil Daggers, and also Lexi says hi.
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 That did come out.
Cat.
Very good, Ma.
Helena Taylor.
Gonna be a long news segment.
Yeah.
Your life is everything. You serve all purpose. You should treat yourself now.
Please change and grow as a person.
Sorry. Oh, wait. The Supermim. Was this Alolan Raichu's nasty plot?
Why is his neck so long?
Because it's full of secrets.
Sarah Lean. Tomothy Pfister is eating crow this week and hopes the Bayo 3 Special Edition pre-order he canceled goes to a good home.
Oh.
This fucking sucks.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people had that experience.
Ugh. Bearded Joe, Cleochrome, Krunglespum. That's right, Ichigo. My plan was to become a baked potato all along.
I feel like we're rapidly moving towards this narrative of like Ichigo is just delusional and sees Jinkaria everywhere.
Is that a fucking shaman?
Yes.
God damn it.
He's got the guacamole. And did you know for Lightning Returns, they increase Lightning scum size? Thank you very much to our pod lords.
Thank you, Podlord.
Thank you, Walmart.
Thank you, Podlords.
If you'd like to become a Podlord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get many benefits, such as early access to Chugging Bleach, our Bleach review podcast, and Pokemon Go to the Movies, our Pokemon movie review podcast. You also get extended armchair dev pitches and gamer premonitions when we do those shows, and we'll just leave shit on the floor. You get the shit that's left on the floor. And a patron exclusive show, one a month, where you get to vote on what good or bad thing we have to watch and then talk about. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you don't have any money, it always helps us immensely to spread the word, and also to like this video on YouTube right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, like the video right now. I'm waiting. Do it. Okay, good. And also go to twitter.com/thepodcastdevil to follow us for updates on our weekly Chainsaw Man podcast, The Podcast Devil, and also see edits I made in about people maybe not liking to pick up their laundry. Patreon.com/gbpodcast.
Thank you, Podlords.
Thank you, Podlord.
Oh man, we've definitely got news.
Yeah.
That is just a fact.
Things
Jack.
happened.
They happened, and then they happened again, and then they happened differently. Let's get to it. We're gonna go ahead and start with the Bayonetta story, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is a lot to unravel.
It is so much. It is so much. And just to be clear, because some people are dense, no matter what is said about any of the people involved with this story, don't be a jackass and go to Twitter and at any of them.
Yeah,
don't be a fucking clown.
Everybody involved in this got added enough over the past week.
Right?
Yeah.
It's okay. You can just register information in your brain, change your perspective, and move on without directly addressing the thing of which you change the value of. Anyways, let's get to it.
Sure. On Saturday, Helena Taylor, original voice actress for Bayonetta, goes to Twitter, makes a 3-video-long thing saying that she was only offered $4,000 for the role of Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3. Basically told people to not respect Jennifer Hale is a new voice actress. Yeah, don't, like, it's okay.
She'll never be Bayonetta.
Yeah, she'll never be Bayonetta. Don't have her sign anything, all that stuff. And then called out Kamiya for, like, getting in contact with him and then only getting the $4,000 offer. So immediately, Kamiya lashes out and does his tweets that's sad and deplorable about the attitude of untruths. That's what all I can tell now.
By the way, beware of my rules.
Yes. So of course, huge thing comes up over this. Good part of this, it gets everyone talking about voice actor wages are horrible and need to go up. And that's super important. Tons of voice actors come out about what it means to be a union job. Even that's not a great pay.
Right. Like, what was it? The guy who specifically worked on Breath of the Wild as like 2, maybe 3 different characters came out, and he was like, I was paid $3,000 for this entire fucking Zelda game. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Sean Chiplock, thank you.
Yes,
Chad.
Sean Chiplock.
Yeah, Sean Chiplock.
Go ahead and continue. I just wanted to make sure we got that anecdote in.
Then a few days later, articles from Jason Schreier comes out and is like, yes, we've seen documentation of she was actually offered, what is this?
4,000 per
per
recording
session.
3 to 4,000 per session, 5 sessions, and this was the starting offer. Like that was where Platinum started, and then they would, that's what salary negotiation is.
And
you
I
start
need to
at a point, and then you probably go up.
And I need to clarify on this because some people are really illiterate. Jason Schreier from Bloomberg confirmed this not only with receiving documentation of this is how the negotiations went, but has multiple sources. This is not, as clowns on Twitter would say, Platinum handed him an internal memo and he took that as gospel.
Yeah, that's look, I'm sorry. If you think that, you're coping that you might have been wrong, which you shouldn't cope over. Nobody should ever feel bad for their first instinct being to support the labor over a company.
Right.
But you have to be willing to take new information. You're not principled if you just believe the same thing regardless of what information comes out. That's not being principled. That's being a Republican in 2004.
Yeah. So after this happened, I think it's later the same day, Video Games Chronicles writer, I believe it was Andy Robinson, confirms with multiple sources themselves and also reviews documentation that confirms the same thing. But in their version, there were no residuals, correct? It's only in the Bloomberg.
I don't think the residuals were in either version. Like
they're in one and they're not in the other.
Okay.
I think they're in both.
Well, now that we've covered the full spectrum.
She asked for residuals in both, but I don't think that was
she
part
asked
of the
for
offer.
residuals. It was never part of the offer. It's not. That's not part of SAG guidelines at all.
Right. So the Bloomberg version of the story is she asked for 6 figs and residuals.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. And the Video Game Chronicles version of the story is 6 figs, but no residuals. Because it's the one differentiating factor between the two stories. But the thing is, these people, Andy Robinson or whatever from Video Game Chronicles and Jason Schreier, they are the type of game journalists that are investigative game journalists. They are only as good as vetting their sources and keeping them anonymous so they don't lose their jobs.
Right.
So a number of people out there going, why don't they post who said this? That's not how this works.
Yeah.
And
why doesn't Platinum release internal documentation that's probably also under NDA to protect Helena Taylor's privacy? This shit goes both ways.
Right. And it's not like we're huge fans of Jason Schreier. Jason Schreier has literally
we make fun of him literally.
Right.
We literally make fun of him every time he comes out.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of waking up like, oh no, it was Schreier. Fuck.
Like, here's the thing. Jason Schreier is unlikable, and he knows he's unlikable, so he better fucking be right.
Yep. Yeah, he
and like all across 3 years of doing, almost 4 years of doing this show, we've never covered something he said and had to go back and be like, no, he was fucking wrong.
Right.
He's always right.
Dude, if he was wrong about something, you bet your ass that, me and Chris would bring it up too often.
Yeah.
Because it's funny and
more than we should bring it up.
Right. Potentially a higher than normal average amount of references to that. But it hasn't occurred. All of his investigative journalism has been on spot. He sucks. And he's a shitty person. But he's not wrong.
All of his stuff is about this labor dispute, so he certainly has no reason to twist the truth in favor of a small Japanese developer.
Right.
Right. That was the most insane take I had to endure this week. Someone in my replies being like, the journos are biased towards Japan. And I'm like, did someone use Trick Room? All the takes are in reverse order. That was
they threw down the Uno reverse card.
Right? Fucking yeah. Jason Schreier, guy who called the head of Vanillaware a pedophile. Definitely huge fan of Japan. Really digs the aesthetic over there.
I always think of the one where he called him a 13-year-old boy. Also a pedophile? Of course.
So anyway. Yeah, so are there more details in this story we haven't covered yet?
The only other one was Jennifer Hale, also is like under NDA and liking tweets about this, and put out her own statement that was clearly like,
anyone who knows me knows I'm pro-union and pro all this other things. Very
and like the entire voice actor injuries behind her being like, no, she's super good with this stuff.
Once this shit came out, a lot of voice actors, as strongly as they could without openly starting shit, was like, maybe you should believe the lady with a long career in fighting for this stuff.
Right. And like there's the whole other layer of this that makes the entire thing questionable, like from the go. Like, and this is what our confusion was for a while when we knew this was like, Jennifer Hale's not cheap.
No.
So why would you go with her instead of Helena Taylor? And the official line was, oh, she wasn't available. Scheduling conflicts. And then it just is discovered she asked for a lot of money and residuals possibly. There is a part of the story that I found interesting where it was like, they clearly cared enough to have her in the game that they even tried to just get her as a cameo.
Yes. Because, there's lots of different Bayonettas. It would have made sense to try and do that.
Right. At least. And they couldn't even get her for that. So, I don't know what to tell you other than, of course, I didn't want to live in a world where a voice actor of a character I really like is a total...
is an asshole, and then people dug through every single thing she's ever said on Twitter, and maybe she is not so great in other ways either, which, by the way, does never, and let me be clear here, it doesn't matter what somebody ever says or believes, they still need to be paid correctly for their labor.
Right. You can't sit there and be like, because I don't like person, they shouldn't get paid.
Yeah. This entire situation is maybe the most teachable moment
for the internet
in industry history. Like, this is a complex situation where there's good and bad shit all over, and the facts have come out, and whether or not that fits the narrative you had of the moral arc of the universe, this is a litmus test for your entire Twitter timeline.
100%. And
here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't about, does Helena Taylor deserve more to be Bayonetta? It's not about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even really about, do voice actors deserve more in general? Because they do. The question should be, did Platinum act unethically? And the answer seems to pretty much be no.
Right.
Like, in fact, they did everything they were supposed to do. They took the project Union when none of their previous games had been Union.
Mm-hmm.
They offered Jennifer Taylor, Helena Taylor, according to these sources, a lot more than she got for Bayo 2.
Mm-hmm.
We're not privy to negotiations, so who knows how much she was offered before the negotiations just fell through entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to bet it was more, because Jennifer Hale, again, not cheap.
Right.
And like, again, Jennifer Hale would not be working for somebody who's mistreating their help.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%.
It's like you can be mad at the angle of they should have paid Helena Taylor whatever they want because I like her.
Mm-hmm.
You can absolutely be mad at that. But if you're looking to be mad at Platinum for some sort of ethical violation, there's really not one here.
Right. And another layer, I would go ahead.
I honestly even Kamiya made a really stupid tweet.
But the sky's fucking blue. Like, did anyone expect Kamiya would come out and have a reasoned fucking tweet for the first time in his life?
That too. I understand where he came from. If he woke up an English second language, he woke up to see people calling for his death that seemed to begin from someone he seems to like a lot.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, you can tell he definitely wanted her to be Bayonetta. I'm sure he's pretty upset about this. I mean, for fuck's sake, listen to her voice, look at Bayonetta. That is a perfect combination. It was perfect casting the first time. Yeah. And as I said earlier this year, no one cares if you recast that actor. Nobody's touched their penis to that voice. No way. No one cares that much, right?
Basically, every Kamiya game is cast English first. Like, he's a dude who cares about that.
100%.
And a lot of people I saw on Twitter trying to say he wasn't, and I was like, where are you coming from with this?
I'm coming
Platinum
from
games
making
are
shit
in-
up to have a good angle on this to debunk a man I know nothing about.
Right.
Platinum games are in that genre, like sweary games and Kojima games, where it's like they do the English shit first. Like that's lead language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's a whole other angle on this because I've seen a lot of people come out and be like, I don't know, guys, $4,000 for a week of work seems like a great deal to me. And I'm like, do you think voice actors have gigs lined up week after week after week for a year straight? That's not how that works. I totally understand. You are the voice actress for Bayonetta. You did the first 2 games. You didn't get paid much. Bayonetta gets in Smash. This is now a successful franchise, obviously, evidently, because there is a 3rd game, and they have Nintendo's backing. This isn't even just Sega anymore. And as you sit there and you work in stage, you do acting in other fields, you direct, you understand from that perspective, yeah, you should get paid more if you were treated like talent in any of these other industries. You would expect to get paid as the titular character of this franchise, that's the single most important voice in this, some amount of money, since these games cost 30, 60, 80 million dollars. Why are you only getting 4K? I understand trying to make that move. The part where I think that person's a piece of crap is where they misrepresent the facts and do the casting of shade on Jennifer Hill.
It's
Right.
really hard. It's really hard for me to be in Helena Taylor's corner in any way, because she didn't just misrepresent what she was offered. She created like this bizarre narrative where she wrote an earnest letter to Kamiya for more and got like a small increase. And it's like, it's impossible for me to be on her side anymore after that. Like that's beyond even just misrepresenting. Like you can't even argue, well, I could say 15, but that might sound like a lot to a layperson, so I have to say a smaller amount, which is still a stupid take.
It is a stupid take, and I've been saying it all week as my tweet blew up.
Yeah. What actually happened is even more, like, even less defensible than that.
Yeah. But that's just, I wanted to take this moment, because we don't get these very often, to specifically bring up, no, it is totally justified. Like, as I'm going through this news cycle, I'm just sitting there being like, is there a world in which Nolan North was only paid a measly like 5 figures for Uncharted 4?
Uncharted 4? No. I bet Uncharted 2, though.
Like, they did a mocap and all sorts of other stuff that brings it into the realm of real acting, but it was, I think it was even after that we had the SAG thing about, no, if you have your voice actor doing mocap and performance in front of cameras, digital motion capture cameras or otherwise, that's acting. You need to pay them appropriately. So that makes me think, so was Sony doing that before then? How would I know?
Yeah,
no one's spilling the beans, and I'm just losing my mind as I'm like, Nolan North is Nathan Drake. Like, he brings a very specific and important energy to that franchise and that character that he should be. There's no world where that should sell that many copies, and this man's walking out of here with.
I feel like we've never heard.
Right.
We've never heard anything disparaging about Sony paying their actors.
We have not.
Yeah,
so never once.
I've never heard like high-end voice. The only number I've ever heard for high-end game voice acting was the voice actor for Nico Bellic in Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yeah.
Was like, I got $90K.
Yeah. And admittedly, recorded a shitload of lines. Yeah, like. But that's the thing.
The big thing is like voice actors should get residuals.
Yeah.
I find complicated though, because a lot of the reason you don't see re-releases of things because residuals make things complicated. Like, there's a reason they recast them for Silent Hill HD Collection. It's because they signed on an agreement where, James Sunderland's voice actor and Maria's and the rest need to keep making money off of all future sales indefinitely. I mean, there are people out here who are literally pirating games because they can't get access to them. And some of these they're not getting access to because music that's licensed and all these other things have residuals.
Yeah, the
Like,
entire industry needs to get better
it's-
about that.
It's
I'm
you
not
get
making the
residuals
argument
in
for-
acting though. Just fucking do it.
But my
And
thing
in
is,
fact, I don't even think that's the case for Silent Hill. I think it's the case that they said that and Konami got scared.
well, they got their voices in eventually, so clearly something's got to be the case. But my whole thing is, I don't care to make the argument that they should get residuals. I care to make the argument they should be paid well. Period. You don't need residuals to get paid well. In fact, in acting,
That's true.
in fucking Hollywood, they use that to screw people all the fucking time.
Mhm.
Where it's like, oh, the movie didn't make any money. Like, what was it? There was that one guy on fucking Twitter who's just like, did you know Men in Black 2 still hasn't made money? Not once. Somehow they greenlit a 3.
There's the Hollywood.
Right. So
accounting.
they're just going to use that to fuck people anyways, which I don't know if the game industry would get smart enough to do that. But the game industry is even more closeted, backroom, and weird about their finances than
Right.
Hollywood. Hollywood's super upfront about that. And they still find a way to totally screw people on residuals. So I don't know. At the end of the day, part of me is like, yeah, no, our biggest franchises in gaming should not be paying so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you can't just mandate the price to be insanely high, because obviously there's the burgeoning middle tier game and lower tier games that still need voice acting.
Yeah, well, even the union rates, it like day rates and weekly rates vary based on the budget of the production.
Right.
That's in the guidelines if you read them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the day rate for an actor in a movie, I think it's between 2 million and 60 million. The day rate is $1,100 a day.
Mm-hmm.
But if your movie only has a budget of less than $300,000, the day rate is $216 a day.
This is also how licensing music for movies goes. I've actually had to do a lot of research on this, and let me tell you, nothing is more frustrating than you need to make sure your budget does not go over this line, or your budget will balloon instantly.
So, like, if Bayonetta was a successful game franchise,
Bayonetta was Uncharted.
I mean, I'm not going to mince words here. If Bayonetta was a successful game franchise, because it never has been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Bayonetta 2 did not sell. Even on Switch, it didn't really sell.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that that underperformance probably reflected in the money they got from Nintendo to make Bayonetta 3.
Mm-hmm.
So what I feel like at the point where she's getting 5 figures feels appropriate to me for Bayonetta 3. Like, again, if this was Uncharted, yeah. Like, if this was a Sony first party thing, or like that Silent Hill 2 remake, or a Capcom thing that obviously have way more money in them. But this ain't no big production. This ain't a AAA game.
Yeah, I understand that. And I do agree that obviously these franchises are not super huge, super successful. Bayonetta. I think the difference here for me is just like, she's so crucial to that. I think it will be really strange to see Jennifer Hale Bayonetta. I think that's going to be a thing that even if you don't have like this weird side in this argument, you will just be like, this feels weird. Like playing Bayonetta 3.
It's gonna feel weird.
Yeah. That's how that sort of thing always goes.
It's gonna feel like if Bob walked in one recording day and just had a different voice.
He just sounds
and
like
nobody addressed it.
Yeah, we
Right.
just don't address it. He sounds like he smokes a pack of cigarettes a day now. No, he sounds like the short guy from Resident Evil 4.
And this is another thing that kind of got Helena Taylor on my bad side, where it's like this rat, like before this we were talking about, fuck Funimation and Crunchyroll, they pay people $60 an episode, and if you even say the name Union, they replace you and will never talk to you again.
Yeah,
like what happened to the guy, like what happened to the voice actor for Mob from Mob Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
So we went from that and like, oh, the voice actors for Jujutsu Kaisen 0 got paid like $200. That movie made like $40 million in the United States.
Yeah. I think that situation is even more dire because there's such a pathological hatred of dub voice actors in the US.
That's my point though. Like we switched from that, we were talking about that to now we're arguing if $15,000 to $20 is enough for these 4 sessions.
Yeah, that extends to everything. Like I've even see people about that for Bayonetta. Like, oh man, the voice actors are crazy,
dude.
It's like, guys.
Dude, that's not most Bayonetta players.
No, absolutely not.
The U.S. audience for anime, there is a shockingly high percent of pathological haters of dubs.
It is really the cross section though. The people who like anime and hate dubs actors are the same ones who like games and hate dub actors.
But like, if you're talking video games, that's not even a whole percent. If you're talking about U.S. consumers of anime, it is definitely more than 1% of these fuckers.
Absolutely.
Yes, it definitely is.
And that's the thing. Like, when you have that much of an animosity towards that field, you can absolutely just pay them fucking... Plus, how many people idolize that concept of, like, being a voice actor in anime, right? You know, that is a field where a bunch of people are just spending hundreds of dollars on equipment and working hours and hours and hours and going through training and shit.
Yeah, no, they love the industry, so they want to be part of it. And
right.
And
they're taking advantage of it.
I mean, that was We Do Chugging Bleach. Chad's voice actor changed, and the actor flat out said, I couldn't survive continuing to do this job. They just did not pay me enough.
Which sucks, because as much as I like the person who replaced him, I do not like him as Chad.
Yeah, no.
The original Chad is a Chad.
If they could get him back for the new season, that'd be immaculate. I doubt they'll do it.
God, that would be incredible. Yeah, absolutely impossible, though.
Absolutely.
Like it, and you have all these voice actors being like, if every job went union, our salaries would go up by like 1,500%. Now, for games, it's not as bad, according to what voice actors said. Like Sean Chiplock was like, you get paid $250 an hour to do non-union games, minimum 2 hours. Which still isn't as good as union rates, which are like $1,200 for a 4-hour session. Usually, that's the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
But for anime, you just get washed. They pay you nothing.
Yeah, bottom line, we really everyone needs to talk about all this a lot to try and get people to.
Go ahead, Bob.
Crunchyroll. Oh, go ahead. Well, go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead and finish your point, Bob, and then we'll.
Everyone needs to keep talking about unionizing voice actors and trying to fix Crunchyroll and all these other people making anime, because it's egregious how bad it is. And I like that this got more people talking about it and more dub actors being open to talking about how they're paid for games and anime. I hope we get to continue that and there's any progress made.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, America does have a pathological hatred of people in service industries, and apparently voice acting slid into that.
Yeah, somehow.
Now, Dan, they have a pathological hatred of everybody who performs any labor that doesn't involve sitting at a computer.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you do any of those,
sitting at a computer
stupid.
Inside an office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be inside the office. If you're at a computer at home, you don't.
That's not a real job.
And also the office can't be a call center. It has to be an office at like a paper company or something.
I can't remember who it was that tweeted this, but it was a writer at Kotaku, and this was the funniest tweet to come out of this week. He's like, I'm seeing a lot of seasoned veteran game developers go, why should voice actors get royalties when we don't?
You're so close. You're so close.
That's literally what he said. He's like,
solved it.
My brother in Christ, you were so close to getting it. You were so close. I was like, okay.
And I, as I kept trying to say, fuck Crunchyroll for moving all their shit to Texas and the Funimation facilities explicitly because Texas has harsher union laws.
Yep.
That's literally the only reason they did it. Also,
Yeah.
fuck Sony for being the parent company of them and doing that.
100%.
Because you know it came from up from on high.
Yep.
Yeah.
They absolutely should be stopping that.
They looked at a spreadsheet and just went, well,
Texas should be illegal.
Texas should be illegal.
Also,
I'm
fuck
willing
Randy
to-
Pitchford for putting everything in Texas for that exact reason also.
Fuck. Anyway, I saw a tweet. It was pretty good. was something along the lines of this: $600 graphics card, $1,500 VR headset, $200 controller. Which of these is the most absurd announcement price-wise of this quarter?
Oh, man.
Because we got a price on the DualSense Edge, the $200 Pro controller. Bob, do you got any details on that?
Sure.
For the pro gamers. Also wrong. It is not the controller. It's the $50 VR headset that has no differential features that make it obviously worth more than the $1,000.
No, give them $500 more, please.
Okay.
They earned it. They're Facebook.
Once again, this is for professionals.
Yes.
what
So DualSense Edge. $200 as you just went over. Launches January 26th next year. So
you can pre-order it soon.
You can pre-order. It's already the 25th of this month. That's next week.
Controller 3 months in advance.
That's true. PlayStation Direct, so like direct purchase for PlayStation stuff.
Okay,
that's
so it's like the fins on my console.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the following month, February 23rd, 2023, it goes to retailers.
So if you
want
the competitive edge,
yes,
on Call of Duty, but in January.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, what are the features on this controller again? I know you can completely change the dead zones on the sticks. You can customize that. You can change the entire stick module, so that'll prevent drift. You can just replace it wholesale.
Yes.
There are back paddles that you could customize the input on that. Those looked interestingly placed. I'm not sure how that's going to feel, and I'm really interested in trying it out because it's, instead of being on the handle, it's a little bit in, it looks like.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. You reach out and tap it.
Yeah, all the other Pro controllers I've ever used, they were much closer to the handles. So I've never used one that was inner.
It's kind of like what they did with the PS4 add-on. Like, it's pretty similar to that.
Yeah, that thing.
And that felt fine.
That thing was fine, yeah. I think this will feel better than that.
It also has the adjustable triggers so you can have short stops and stuff like
Depths.
that.
Yeah, you can change the full depression depth on that.
This seems like a crazy price for it.
Yeah?
Like the 150 is what Elite controllers is at, and that's around where the
is that what the Elite's at?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was also one of those 250s.
Yeah, no, not when I checked it. There might be two different versions because I know they announced more, but I'm pretty sure that the standard like Elite with all the features is 150.
I thought it was way more. We got ours used in order to prevent paying anywhere near that amount.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's like it's a Pro controller.
Yeah, it's not. It also only has like Scuff and Elite have 4 buttons on the back. This only has the 2, which doesn't feel as cool. But I guess it's still just as useful, or it's not as useful, but it does what people want of having. Okay, I can have my run or my knife
reload
back there or reload, whatever is you want to get in an easier to reach place.
It's funny because I've never really wanted it for Call of Duty, but I've absolutely wanted it for Destiny because of how that worked out, where I was just like, oh, it'd be really cool if I could like melee while keeping but okay, all right.
Yeah, but I think that price puts a little bit out of what I'm willing to spend. Maybe they'll drop it at some point and I'll pick it up, like it'll go on sale for their PlayStation event or something.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
We're in the new economy. The console price goes up after 2 years.
That's
the
true.
controller's $200 until we replace it with another $200 controller.
Yeah, I got really into trying these things out back in when I picked up the Elite and the Scuff was about to come out.
Yeah. Oh, well, and also we picked up the Scuff.
We did pick up the Scuff and try
terrible.
That. But after messing with those a lot, I'm like, I'm not really sold on the back buttons that much. Like, it's neat.
No,
it can be fun.
I agree.
That's a lot of money. At least this is made by Sony. It's going to be high quality, almost certainly durable.
Right. That's like Sony's MO. I can't remember the last time, probably PS3 era with that controller was the last time they made a true piece of shit.
Right. So I have to have confidence this won't be like the Elite where it just degrades within a year.
Right. The durability on the Elite's staggeringly bad, which is something we bring up every time we bring up the Elite because you would assume a more expensive controller would be more durable.
Right, that's part of the idea. But they even like, hey, it has metal parts. It's like, not the important ones.
Yeah, not the important parts are metal.
You patch the metal bumpers to plastic that breaks.
No, guys, it's hobby grade, so it's designed for a consumer base of mature users who know how to treat a piece of sophisticated technology.
Oh, I saw it just who could afford to replace it.
I mean, that is. But I mean, at least you can replace the stick module. So
yes,
if there's drift, that's a feature.
Right.
Speaking of which, everyone should figure out a way to replace the company that is making the sticks that keep drifting because everyone uses the same guys. Yep. So if
people
you ever
are
wonder,
arguing about like the price of this thing, and it just makes me think of this old parable where a man's working at a man gets a job at a grocery store. He looks at the shelf and there's two sections of corn. It's the exact same can of corn. One's 50 cents and the other's $5. And a rich man walks in and buys the $5 can of corn and leaves, and he asks his boss, "Why is there two prices for the same thing?" The boss just says, "Some people want to pay more."
I mean, that's
how I feel about these controllers. They're for people who want to pay more so than someone who wants something like demonstrably better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I've often made the case of Kickstarter doesn't prove the market for a game. It proves the market for people who will pay $250 for a game.
Yeah.
Nothing has refueled the limited edition comeback more than Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
I mean that a lot of companies now use Kickstarter to dole out their special editions. They don't even.
Yes.
They're very upfront about, like, that's every tabletop and board game now. It's like, no, we could make this, but it's instead of calculating how many super big dick editions we need, we'll just let you tell us how many of those we need.
Right. And limited run games would not exist if not for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't. Let's move on, Bob.
Sure. They released a new Final Fantasy 16 trailer today.
I thought it was pretty cool. I liked when they showed the kingdoms and they looked nice.
Am I the only one who, like, they got to the fourth kingdom and I'm like, neat, and then surprise fifth kingdom, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I didn't
expected the fourth to be the last. I'm like, yeah, that's how it goes. You get the 4 kingdoms, the 4 crystals. 5.
Oh my god.
I'm glad we got this trailer, because I was really being like, okay, show something other than The Witcher.
Yes. It really needed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think visually it looks nice. That trailer brought a lot more of what I want to see in a Final Fantasy trailer of the world than I feel like any of the trailers have so far. I'm now more interested than I have been in the past. Yes. That game sure is coming out in the summer. And the fact we got the Silent Hill showcase, the Resident Evil showcase, and this all in 1 week within 2 days goes to show, holy shit, those people saying Sony canceled a state of play to not look too strong compared to Xbox actually might be right. What fucking clown dimension have we entered?
Yeah. Oh god, I didn't even consider that they did it so that the regulators would be harsher on Microsoft.
Oh my god.
That's
4D chess.
Yeah. No, this is insane.
Yeah, because all 3 of those have massive Sony deals that are super apparent.
And they're all like popping up console exclusivity. And it's like they don't want to do the show where they do that back to back to back to back to back. That's nuts that those people are real. Those people are normally the crazy ones.
Right.
Those people on Twitter are usually the chemtrail fuckers. And yet here they are. They're like, yeah, rumors are out that Sony's not doing that state of play because they don't want to look too strong. Who knows when they're announced this shit.
Oh god, just imagine the deal falls through. The regulators are like, no, next day, state of play, it's 90 minutes long.
Right?
Like the UK tells Microsoft like the deal's off. You can't do this, but you now have to buy Square Enix.
Like
now it's fair.
We've talked about this more like the past couple of weeks of like after Ragnarok, like there's nothing on Sony's end. Like they have nothing announced.
Yeah,
they've been real quiet about anything coming out after that.
And this is why.
And that this is probably part of the reason, and I kind of suspect that another part of the reasons they're like, we need to know if the silicon shit will be fixed. So we need to know if we need to keep making things on PS4. And luckily, it seems like the answer is going to be no.
Yeah, I mean, they're planning on shipping 30 million PS5s next year. That is massive. That is insane. That is imagine. Let me put it this way. Imagine planning for the peak of your life. Imagine just going 19. I'm gonna fuck so many bitches. I'm gonna hit up at least 6 countries. This is it. It's happening, and it's all coming up, Dan. Like that's how it feels to be like 30 mil, 2023.
You think if production spikes enough where we're going to get a price drop where they act like they didn't raise the price just now?
Yes.
I mean, dude, the Slim's supposed to be next year.
Oh, fuck me.
Right? So, legit. Like Slim.
Like actually Slim.
Yeah.
Will the same faceplates work?
Probably not.
Because there's not room at the bottom for it to really...
Yeah,
unless it just like kind of real V shapes.
That would be amazing. PSV.
It'll be just like Bob's premonition, where it'll be shaped like a big V.
Yeah. It'll be like the dev kit with the Roman numeral V.
I mean, I still count the PS5 as it is for that premonition.
Yeah. You were saying, Bob, in one of the articles, according to Microsoft, when they wrote the CMA or something, they were saying something along the lines of Wolverine's coming out in 2023. And it's like, one, why the fuck would Microsoft know when Wolverine's coming out?
Corporate espionage.
But 2, no, it's not.
Yeah, no way.
Bad corporate espionage.
like Spider-Man 2, probably. Insomniac literally.
Maybe Microsoft lied to the government.
Would Microsoft really do that?
There's always the chance that Wolverine is first.
I don't think so. That under development later. We know that much because it has the lead from Miles Morales.
Okay.
Yeah. And they even gave a 2023 year for Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2 does have 2023, and they actually reaffirmed that shit on Twitter in the last week, which was crazy. Insomniac literally came out and went, "We're not talking about it, but everything's fine with the development schedule, and it's still planned for 2023." And I'm like, you can't just say that having not shown any of your game.
That kind of tweet has such big dick energy in modern game development. Everything's fine. We're still on track.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
I would much rather have just a developer be like, hey, everything's going fine, than the weird, we have to see a trailer every 2 months or the game is canceled.
Right. Yeah, Jesus. So it's kind of crazy to be like, yeah, I guess next year we're playing Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2.
And Final Fantasy 7 too.
Oh, God. Yeah, that is the end of next year.
Yep.
I forgot they announced the whole, this December is this one.
Mm-hmm.
Next December is this one. Or next winter. Sorry, winter. Yeah. So I just thought that was funny. Anyways, we should move on.
Sure.
Bob, you're making this shit up.
I'm not, actually.
Aggro, tell Bob he's making this shit up.
Bob, I think you're making this up.
Mortal Kombat Onslaught was announced for 2023. This is a mobile RPG with a cinematic story made by, or developed and co-published by NetherRealm Studio. It sounds fake. I know it does.
That sounds really fake.
Can I get a clip of Boone saying what? Don't you guys have phones?
See if Boone
is Ed Boone on Cameo?
If Ed Boone said anything about this game, that would just make it even less real because Ed Boone lies all the fucking time to everyone's faces.
Yes. You're making me doubt myself. I'm like, I took this from a reputable news website.
No, it's real. There's a website up for it.
Thank you.
That's insane.
Bob's like, did I read this or did I merely see it in my dreams?
Ed Boone will do fucking anything but make Shaolin Monks HD.
Yeah,
that motherfucker.
Maybe WB just won't let him.
And that's it for Bob news. So I have a bit of cleaning house. Analog, the people who make those FPGA consoles, you know, the Super NT, the Mega SG, the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. They're doing one last run on the Super NT and the Mega SG, those consoles. So if you want a bespoke way to play cartridge-based games, or, you know, they have the jailbreak firmware, you could play it off the SD card for the Genesis really successfully, and the Super NES less so because of all the extra core processors. The pre-order for that is going up. What is that? The 28th of this month, so a week from today. Additional news. Apparently the B tier, scheduling-wise, and C tier, scheduling-wise, pre-orders for the Analog Pocket, 95% of all of those are supposed to ship by the end of this year, so I guess my Analog Pocket's showing up. So look forward to that. I get to tell you whether or not it's good at all. I've heard horror stories from numerous people of like, yo, these buttons feel like shit. And my screen fell off. And I'm like, I certainly hope getting it a year later helps.
We have developed screen glue since then.
They did it. Thank God. And for people who don't know, the Analog Pocket OS has, this isn't news, but it happened in the in-between period where people didn't care. The cores that people can make for it, just like the Mister, has occurred. And people are making a lot of cores for this thing. So that's really cool. That's good news. I think there's something to be said for a system that can play the cartridges, the original cartridges of these systems, which the Mister cannot do. So to some extent, I actually see some value in the Super NT and especially the Mega SG, because that shit does Genesis, Game Gear, and Master System. And you can just run all of those games off the SD card slot, except for like the one game, Virtual
that 3D
Racing
game.
Right. Because that is slap-on processor. So that's pretty cool.
It's a testament to how my mind is diseased that I have the Mister and I'm like, yeah, but the Super NT has more soul.
No, I get it. I definitely get it. It's a really nice piece of kit. It's really solid. Every kink was worked out in the first 3 weeks.
Maybe if I could really easily navigate the Mister menu with a controller instead of a keyboard, that would help.
Yeah, the Mister menu is a fucking mess. That's just true.
Like if it had a really nice GUI, that would be a big buff to it. Somebody who works on the Mister fucking do that, please.
That'd be nice. Can we get a fork? One that
like
just
even,
has the good OS.
Like, let me have like a cool menu and let me throw in like a zip file of all the game covers so they show up in like a grid.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like a command line emulator. And the last analog bit of news, really not that noteworthy, but obviously I'm going to do it because I already got the Pocket. Tomorrow, as in the 21st of this month, they're opening pre-orders for the cart adapter for the Pocket, meaning you'll be able to play those other systems' cartridges directly on the Pocket Portable. I believe the systems are the Atari Lynx and Game Gear, and then one other, and I can't remember what, but there you go. Neo Geo Pocket, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, the Pocket seems cool. That screen being that insanely high res, so it can better do like pixel scaler shit.
Right.
Is really neat. That's a really fascinating thing. I'm excited to get my hands on it. And in case I didn't say it correctly, that is the last run of the Super NT and the Mega SG. So if you think you might be interested, get it. And if you end up not liking it, sell it later for a highly inflated price. It's what we did with our Analog NT Mini. We bought it for like $450, sold it for $1,200 or something, because that was the market value at the price at that point. And then I felt bad for that guy because 9 months later they did a second run, a thing they said they would never do. They did one more run of the Analog NT Mini. But yeah.
But this is definitely the final run of these ones.
It probably is, because they're probably going to move on to make the console version of what the Pocket is, right? Where it's the one that plays everything. They realize they can't do that many more of these. Though, to be fair, they did announce a TurboGrafx one of these fuckers and then said nothing about it for what feels like 2 years now.
Yeah, I was like, didn't that happen? Didn't that get announced? What happened to that?
I have no fucking idea. I was like, I understand production hard. You're not like a big dog like Intel, Nvidia, etc. Did this goes beyond that to have announced nothing. Did COVID hit the CEO and the FPGA programmer? How hard were you hit for you to have said nothing about the TurboGrafx one for 2 years? Maybe it was only 1 year, but it feels like 2. Anyway, that's it for analog news. That's it for my news. We now head over to Dr. Aggro. Dr. Aggro.
So brought to you by the people who whine and cry that every game needs an easy mode. No, an easier mode than that. Entitled Gen Z gamers pissed and shit.
That's them.
Screamed and cried that not every single game ever made is exactly the way I want it to, and I can't appreciate a game for what it is. So it's been announced that Dwarf Fortress is actually getting a tutorial. You badgered these poor men into giving it a visual design instead of ASCII art, and now you bastards have demanded that they hold your hand while you learn one of the most obtuse and intricate simulation games in human history.
I can't believe they took this future away from you.
They haven't dated it yet, but for the upcoming Steam release, they have announced they have designed tooltips to onboard new players into Dwarf Fortress. The guy actually said, like, the test audience was my wife. She's never played any of these kinds of games. I sat her down and she was able to play it enough to tunnel into a bog and drown her entire civilization.
Good.
So it seems
working.
to work.
Yeah, that's working.
Seems perfect.
Absolutely.
I'll be happy to try it with that mod that adds all the things that beginners need. I'm excited to you need the 4090 for Dwarf Fortress. For when one of your dwarfs accidentally knocks something down a mine shaft and the game has to take into account 800 floors of a mine in real time.
Could you imagine?
Woof. I've got a little bit of good news here. A bit of kind of good news, but you know, you got to take the good news and the victories where you can get them, or you will just wander off into the bleak morass of modern living and die.
Or as we call it, the Bayo 3 segment earlier.
Yeah. Mackenzie Clifton was a tester on Smash Ultimate who got fired earlier, if you remember that news story.
Oh, yeah.
Officially for some tweet they had made. It was bullshit. She apparently asked Doug Bowser a question about unions during an all-hands meeting, and they fired her for it.
That's not fucking allowed.
Yeah, it's union busting. So the NLRB got into that shit. They have been awarded a little south of $26,000 in a settlement, and what's funnier to me is Nintendo has to post, we paid this person this much money outside or inside of all their offices.
It's pretty good.
And like the NLRB list of like, you have the right to unionize. You have the right to select a leader for your union. We are not allowed to fuck with you while you do this.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's not much, but
it's pretty great.
It's a victory.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Enjoy them when you get them.
You know, this is probably hyper relevant to our audience, so I should have said something sooner. It didn't occur to me to bring it up to anyone because I knew of this for my own purposes, but for people who did not know, VTube Studio version 1.22.0 adds RTX for face tracking. They actually implemented it already. It is better than an iPhone, even with the shitty webcam. Maybe look into that if you VTube. Nice. If you have a 2000 or newer series GPU from NVIDIA, that shit will make it much easier, much higher refresh rate for your rig compared to many other things. So maybe look into it.
I had one more thing. I didn't put it in news.
Yes.
Harvestella. They put out hey, like we got some feedback from the beta and we are slowing that fucking clock down.
I bet Xeon's really happy about that.
Day one purchase.
I had one conversation with Lady Xeon about that. She's just like, there's a fucking panic attack game. I was so fucking floored when Aggro said, I beat blank.
They were like, we're slowing the clock down and the basic mage attack is sped up. I'm like, this was a report directly to my soul. Thank you for putting this on my desk.
Next, we are going to Chris.
Okay, let's start with the Silent Hill news. Silent Hill 2 remake by Bloober Team's real.
We had so much warning, and it still hurt.
It still hurt a little.
Yeah, we still all wanted to believe it was fake.
We had to go through the fucking stages of grief on that one. It's PS5 PC exclusive. We don't have a release date. Reportedly, Bloober is being kept on a very fucking short leash. Imran Khan posted this today where he's like, I'm not going to say that there's no chance of new content, but apparently their face is being held to the fucking grindstone. Like, no, you do not deviate from what is there. The composer and the monster designer, Yamaoka and Ito, are both involved. Ito even tweeted today, like, no, I get why people are skeptical. He's like, I think it was like, I understand your concerns.
I played the medium.
I have no idea why we hired these people.
So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic in the sense that this will be a nice companion piece to the original game, but it will not be able to replace it. Because even with what we've seen already, I'm like, it's not the same thing. So, like, having a really high fidelity emotive model is not the same thing as James Sunderland's weird ass fucking wax face. Not having good not having the capacity to emote properly, which was honestly probably intentional to some degree.
Right.
With what that game's story is. So,
yeah, I think
Konami, let me explain something to you, Konami. Just make the original one available on modern platforms, and nobody will care how bad you fuck up the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like I was talking to Dan about this yesterday. Of like, there's no winning. Like, you can't do anything to Silent Hill 2. You have to just port it. There's nothing no deviation that people want.
But then I explained to Bob, and it's like, Bob, use your fucking brain. You know, Silent Hill 2 is some sort of super game that you can't port to anything ever. It just doesn't work. They tried that, and look what happened. Our stream tomorrow.
It would be funny if they were like, we're doing this with Sony, so we got Bluepoint to reverse engineer from a disc of Silent Hill 2.
Well, you know, so aside from what's wrong with your face, one of the things that bugs me about what they've shown so far even is that the fog does not look as impressive as it should when it's trying to be a new Silent Hill 2. Like, the fog should look like Returnal fog.
Yeah,
it should be fully voxelized, volumetric, absolutely gorgeous.
This should be like fucking Steam Boy. Like, sorry, we figured out a new way to do the fog. We're restarting production.
Right, and that's absolutely what Housemarque did with Returnal. They have their own completely custom particle effect system in order to get that looking right. And it just does not look good enough in that way. The faces also do not look correct and good enough. The lighting for that scene of him looking in the mirror completely ruins the point. He's supposed to be basked in shadow. It's supposed to be a dark, introspective moment. But instead, they're like, well, we got to animate his face. He needs to be showing emotion. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, so that's why my like maybe it'll be a decent companion piece. It'll be going for slightly different things. You can play it after the original and be like, that was an interesting take on the same thing.
The moment the Silent Hill thing ended, I went to go see what local Silent Hill fan Fake Aggro thought. And he basically just screamed a bunch about, why are they remaking 2 again? Remake 1, you fucks. And then was bewildered by the Silent Hill MMO and the other thing. But, you know, said F sounds good. Anyways, let's move on.
Okay, there's Silent Hill Ascension. It's an interactive streaming service, a streaming series where the audience will decide what happens, and it has some of the biggest soulless psychos in gaming involved. Like, it has DJ2 Productions, who I'm really getting fucking sick of hearing pop up. Fuck them. They leave a bad taste in my mouth.
I actually don't know them from anything. What are they?
All they do is they buy the rights to these to do shit like this. Like, they were the ones that got the Sonic movie off the ground.
Oh.
But they also bought the rights to, like, there where the Disco Elysium Amazon show came from. Is like they bought the TV rights out from under, like, without the knowledge of the original creators. And then they bought a bunch of other TV rights. So they're like a vulture company. And And then there's like, and then you go to the website of the other people involved, and it's like, it's just an ocean of buzzwords. You're drowning immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking bad robot.
Yeah.
Like J.J. Abrams didn't even record a thing. He literally didn't bother to phone it in.
No.
The female presenter had to read his statement. Holy shit, what is this project?
Yeah. Well, you know what it isn't? Your pitch for a Silent Hill game, but it's close. We're almost there. It's just a little bit more dystopic. Maybe we could get there.
I'll be there. I'll be there in Twitch chat every step of the way. Activate the drones.
Knife that bitch.
That's one of our Twitch emotes, right? Like we can ruin that thing with drones.
Oh, maybe. Let me go check. Actually, Chad can check for me, guys. If we have the drone emote, let me know. I need to fix that.
Silent Hill Townfall is the Annapurna thing. It is by No Code, who made Stories Untold, like a Stranger Things aesthetic, which this even kind of looks like from what they showed. If it's like it's 80s and there's like a VHS tape. It's like a first-person adventure thing, but not like Myst. It's more like you turn your it's like an escape room game almost, where it's like it's a fixed screen and you interact with stuff on like a desk or whatever and get different effects. That's what their previous game was, and that's what I assume this will be, something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it could be good.
Yeah, it could be neat.
And then Silent Hill F. This is being written by Ryukishi 07, who is the writer of Higurashi, Umaneko, Seconia, Higanbana, and Rose Gun Days. I don't have an analogy here because there isn't one.
Yeah, this is pretty fucking unprecedented.
This is such a fucking bull. This is not only out of left field, it's an insane bullseye.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even. I'm sitting here trying to think of like, this would be like if the next God of War was directed by the director of Versus.
It feels like all of these are bizarre armchair dev pitches. Every one of them.
See, this one isn't a bizarre armchair dev pitch, which is why it's so bizarre. It's like, this is a level of understanding that frightens me coming out of Konami.
While this is perfect for a horror game, I don't know that it makes perfect sense for Silent Hill.
It does.
Well, Silent Hill as a concept is always visually, aesthetically, and setting-wise an American horror movie thing filtered through a Japanese lens. When you change the setting and the type of like construction to Japanese in origin and setting, and being made by Japanese devs, it really doesn't continue to have that lens. Admittedly, that shift also happened when they had Western people make a Silent Hill set in a Western horror thing. So, yeah, I was going to say, like, Empty Cups and Chaz is like, it's kind of just Siren at that point where it is Japanese horror. I think this game will be good. Like, I am optimistic about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it does seem like very different in the way that you get with shifts in games. It's just we're not used to getting this huge of a shift, but also it be a good idea and good. Like the DMC was not a good idea.
Yeah, that was not a good idea. But this is like, Ryukishi is really good at atmospheric horror. He used to be a social worker and like worked with abused people, so he's extremely on the like the self-introspection, I did bad things, generational trauma elements of like Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
And then they got a really good artist to do the monster designs.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Kara.
When we talk about Silent Hill, it's like, you need to make a great Silent Hill, you need an excellent writer. And so, by this being the first thing they announce about this one, this comes out looking like the most promising project in the set. Because we don't know dick about Townfall's writer.
No.
Yeah, this is even more ridiculous than if, like, again, I'm clawing at an analogy here because there just isn't one, but it's like, we gave the Fate Stay Knight Rider Dragon's Dogma 2. Like even that isn't quite the level because their company is really successful now, so they might get that. I made the joke that they need to give Uchikoshi, writer of AI, the Somnium Files, and Zero Escape, Microsoft needs to give him Crackdown. That needs to be how they clap back.
It's true. It's the only way. If Microsoft can't buy Activision Blizzard, the only way to clap back is to get Uchikoshi on the Saints Row. Or Crackdown. Sorry.
This game is set in the 1960s in Japan, a rural town supposedly, which is again something they've written before. I'm really excited for this game because I know if nothing else, it's going to have really good writing. It's going to have good monsters, and it will probably have really good music.
I'm not familiar with the Kara, the monster designer. What else have they done?
I forget. It's some Vita game where it's like has gorgeous art and everything else is bad.
The developer's also like pretty unknown. I can't remember the name right now.
They're Reverse. They're the Reverse guys.
Yeah, they're making Reverse. They did all the ports of the Resident Evil games to modern consoles.
Yeah, when you look at their cooperation with Capcom, it's like 7 different Resident Evil projects.
Yeah, they've been doing stuff with Capcom since Devil May Cry HD collection, and they've been doing like a bunch of the HD collections of things since then, like Onimusha.
Yeah.
Like I just said about the Resident Evils.
Yeah. It's strange and interesting. I do not know the shape this thing takes, but I'm very interested. Besides, they already got the horror nailed for people who are tryptophobic. I saw that and I was like, oh, I feel so bad for you.
It's like, oh, that's the worst thing I'm going to see today. I want to take my face off.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
Spirit Hunter NG is what the artist did, which is a visual novel horror game for the Vita and also the Switch.
Man,
Cool.
Another really small, basically unknown talent almost, it seems.
Yeah, this is definitely the most interesting and radical project
This
in
is
the
a swing.
set.
Yeah.
The fact that they have like I wonder, is this going to be like a cinematic thing? Is it going to have combat at all? Is it going to be a visual novel and they just didn't tell us?
Right.
I feel like it's gonna it's gonna be like a full project, and the first couple trailers are gonna come out, and depending on how they're received, they might like the title comes out Silent Hill 5. Is it good?
Yeah, they don't want to have to do what Double Helix did with I forget if Homecoming or Downpour was first. I forget which one of those was first. But whichever one was first, they were like, it's Silent Hill 5. And they were like, it's not Silent Hill 5.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was
embarrassing.
But yeah, that's really good. Weirdly enough, despite that project existing, it may be the most radical thing in this set, but it was not the most insane thing in this set.
The most insane thing is Christoph Gans, director of the first Silent Hill live-action film, is returning to direct a new one titled Return to Silent Hill.
First 2, they gave him a third.
Wait, he directed the second?
Yeah, apparently. Either that or my Silent Hill fan friend is just completely wrong on that, but they gave him a third. That's fucking nuts. The second was not him. Okay,
here.
I'm gonna have to own my friend on Facebook. But yeah, no, fucking... What the fuck? They give him another movie?
Right?
And he's done like fuck all since that movie even. He did some weird French Beauty and the Beast movie. And then that's in 2014, and then that's it. So they like brought him out of cold storage. They're like, no, we need that guy.
That's insane. Yeah. And it's even weirder because he's like, well, this one's going to be Silent Hill 2. And I'm like, question, you made Silent Hill 1 Silent Hill 2. You already did that. Sir? How are you?
Him and his producer come out and they're like, yeah, we made the brilliant and beloved masterpiece Silent Hill 1 the movie. And I'm like,
no?
What? Did no one tell you?
One or more of these things is completely wrong. Yeah, that was insane because
wait,
for people
what the fuck do you mean that the writer of the first Silent Hill movie wrote Pulp Fiction?
Weird.
What?
Okay. But yeah, for people who don't know, Silent Hill 1, the movie, just takes a lot of the monsters and things from 2, which don't make any fucking sense if you've played even just Silent Hill 2. Like, you could play Silent Hill 1 and be like, these monsters weren't here. That's weird. Okay, they're cool and iconic. But if you play Silent Hill 2, you go, that makes no fucking sense. What are you doing? So the thought that he's like, I'm bringing Silent Hill 2 back to the movie screen and we're going to make it fresh. And I'm just like, you know what would be fresh? Them being in the correct fucking movie. So that's interesting.
And I feel like a gigantic part of this direct is them yammering on about this project that's
Yeah.
so early in development they can show nothing. Literally nothing.
Well, no, they show literally something in that they have storyboards.
It's one of those moments where I got bored listening to him talk, so I started skimming through that segment.
Yeah.
And I got bored because of how many times I had to click right to get through it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is huge.
Massive.
Fuck me, man.
Absolutely massive. I can't believe they're fucking doing that. Okay, let's move on.
G4's dead. We covered their layoffs a couple weeks ago, and I really thought that this would stall off the end for more than 2 weeks.
Same.
They apparently didn't tell any of the people who were fired that they were being fired, because people were in the tweets of the announcement being like, this is how I found out.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like, this was always a doomed project the way they ran it. Like, I'm not going to say that the concept of doing a larger, more well-resourced gaming channel is doomed, but it really had this executive energy of like, well, we're a big company. If we do the same thing these fucking losers do in their bedrooms, we'll take all their views instantly because we're a company and deserve it. And then that did not work at all.
Yeah, it makes no sense what their strategy was, and it made no sense to me from day one. A bunch of people tried to tell me, no, it's gonna work. I'm like, no, nobody wants to tune into a media conglomerate and act like they're your local Twitch streamer. They want shows and episodes and constructed things from them.
Yeah, and they acted like, oh yeah, we'll just get back Adam Sessler and Kevin Pereira, and that'll give you enough to get people back to the channel. It's like, nobody cares.
Right. Like,
those guys were washed up before the G4 ended.
I mean, 100%, like, I think more people care about Kevin being back than Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up burning that goodwill really fast with Kevin on Attack of the Show.
They did.
The part where they're licensing content from Scott the Woz and other shit, it's like, no one cares. Like,
yeah,
what?
They're already watching that. He's huge.
And it's censored properly on YouTube. Unlike apparently when they accidentally aired it, where you could hear Scott say shit. I don't know. None of that made any sense. It was really stupid. I guarantee you could have given me a 10th the budget, and I could have had a better swing at it.
Adam Sessler had a real embarrassing meltdown over this. I think it lasted like a day and a half. He turned like it was bad. I fail to see how he can ever work in the industry again with this meltdown.
Oh,
where it's like I'm gonna fund a house. Like, he's quote tweeting people like making fun of him for this shutting down. He's like, I should fund a house candidate in your district to cut off all federal funding, so you have to whore out your daughter, is one of the things he sent somebody, where it's like he went real mask off.
Yeah, Adam Sessler's done that at least 3 times prior, which is why it was funny every time it was brought up. Like, people don't know, and I'm like, I think people who know who Adam Sessler is know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. But like, the most notable before this revival, the most notable Adam Sessler had been in years was everybody saying he was on coke because he did an interview on like an hour of sleep and was clearly broken.
No, he said some pretty fucked up shit on Twitter over. He had a bad day and said some pretty fucked up shit on Twitter. It was an episode a lot like this. So,
yeah, he doesn't seem to take things well.
No, that is a man who should step away from the internet when shit starts going
G4
bad.
should have like they could have had like documentary shows about the production of games.
Mm-hmm.
They could have had like more structured content. They could have even done something with, writing and like a narrative.
Yeah, I sit here and constantly think about they should have just made, like, they would have had a better chance as a streaming service is how bad this run was.
Yeah. I was thinking they could have gotten a lot more exclusives. I feel like the only reason I ever tuned in even once was to see the Mina the Hollower stuff, and that was announced. And that was their exclusive.
And that was seemingly because Gerard, the completionist, who found out he got fired by that tweet.
Yes.
From Nebellion or Warriors 64. He was the only reason they got that exclusive, seemingly.
Probably. Because he seemed to know the devs.
And it's like, hey, you know what would help? Money. Pay devs to make you the exclusive source. Then when you build up the following, you don't have to do that anymore.
When Game Informer is sitting here constantly underfunded and bleeding staff, but still having new cover stories every month that are actually important.
Right.
How can you not do that when you have this insane budget?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. This thing was clearly had terrible leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I heard any idea about what any one specific thing they did over there at G4 and went, oh, that's smart. Not one.
No.
Did they make their back catalog available? No. Did they hire people to make new editorialized content? Like written, produced shows? No. They're just doing streaming and a bunch of other kind of like shit any of us could do sort of content. And it's like, that's insane, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, they could be like, hey, gaming historian, we're going to give you a team of researchers. Make us a show.
You can't sit here and come in under YouTube Red trying to do their premium gaming shows and be like, we tried.
Mm-hmm.
No. Excuse me. You didn't give money to Ego Raptor and say, hey, go make cringe.
You didn't try. 200 employees, IGN sized. They were IGN sized.
Right. It's insane. Literally.
IGN sized for like 5,000 views of video.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was absolutely terrible. RIP.
They talked about the new Stranger of Paradise DLC, Stranger from the Rift or Wanderer from the Rift. It's the Gilgamesh one. It's structured exactly the same as the first one, where it has a new difficulty mode and you have to grind forever. I think they also said it would have some kind of new roguelike dungeon, which is interesting, but not guys, your DLC shouldn't be play the game again. That shouldn't be your DLC plan.
Yeah,
people want new levels.
That's the free stuff in Neo DLC. Like you don't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
More metaverse stuff came out, which is like Facebook's thing. Most metaverse worlds, 89%, I think they said, have never had a visitor.
That makes sense.
Is that accessible to the public?
Yeah.
Like Meta's metaverse?
Yes.
Did anyone here know that before this news story, that you could go and enter the metaverse owned by Meta right now?
No, I didn't know.
I had assumed it. I
assumed that shit hadn't launched. What?
They were like, the ones still there have never had more than 50 people. And one of the reporters was like, I went to a party in the metaverse. There was 9 people there. One of them tried to sexually assault me and was only cut off when his girlfriend started screaming at him because she caught him doing it.
Jesus Christ, you guys. You should not be getting your entire service bodied by a VR chat world.
But they have legs now.
No, they don't actually.
No, they don't.
Yeah, but did we cover that? That those legs were incredibly fake?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
I love Captain Disillusion, this guy known for debunking fake CG videos and prank shit. Hoaxes. He just goes, really? I thought the VR headset was scanning your brain in 120 frames per second and interpolating that into leg positions. I thought they got that working and that it wasn't just mocap.
God, it's so fucking pathetic.
Yeah, it is so pathetic. Just write out the end of your business with grace.
Yeah, I know. This is Mark's desperation throw because he can't steal data anymore.
Like, watch this shit happen. Look me in my eyes and tell me capitalism is a meritocracy.
Like, people used to throw around late stage capitalism a lot for like the past decade.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually it, where Facebook could buoy this shit by going, the Oculus is $100. We'll eat a loss to get you into our web. But late capitalism brain means they can't even do that. They do not understand the concept of a loss leader anymore.
No.
So they're just going to drown.
The best part of this, and I love that I get to call this now, because I know this is the case, but I haven't said it even once on content, because sometimes you don't turn on the mic, start a show and go, gravity. Like, Apple's going to launch an AR VR headset and instantly get 1 million fucking people with too much money in there.
Yeah.
And he will melt live because there's nothing Facebook could do to convince that many people to give their shit a shot. But Apple fans, that it could be just as busted and barren, and yet it will work because they have that fanatic fan base. Now, keep in mind, there is no world in which Apple ships something as busted as fucking Facebook's metaverse. That's just not gonna fucking happen. But
it's really funny that they renamed this entire company after this, and it's completely bombing.
Yeah.
I love how every time somebody mentions Meta, which is Facebook,
Right.
every single article, it's so good.
Because it's like he thinks he can escape it. Don't let him.
This is like if he named his company Food because they were starting the first restaurant.
It's like when IHOP did the joke about changing their name to iBob or whatever for burgers. When they started
IHOB, International House of Burgers. People believed that. The dumbest people in the world, but I knew more than one person who was like, that doesn't, I don't know, that seems weird to me. And I'm like, you're so dumb.
But then Zuckerberg actually did it, though.
Well, this was going to be the future, and everybody would know what the metaverse is, and his company named Meta would be at the forefront of it because it would be in their name.
Right. It would be in their name. So that's like calling, like dibs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multi-billion dollar dibs.
Speaking of miserable failures, Netflix is considering starting a cloud gaming service.
No. They already started it because they already have streamable games on their platform. Now they're serious about the investment, is what that announcement was. They're serious. This is really happening, you guys.
Now that Stadia is no longer standing in our way.
Yeah.
I'm doubling down. Like I said in a tweet, if they buy a single thing, any infrastructure, any code, if they hire anybody that was high up in Stadia, I'm calling that premonition fulfilled.
Which premonition?
It was the 2020s gamer premonitions.
Okay.
I said Stadia's going down. They get bought by Netflix, who tries to relaunch it.
Fucking damn it.
Yeah, that counts. That definitely counts.
I saw someone try to be like, but here's the thing, Stadia didn't succeed. And I'm like, okay, perfectly logical tape, sure. And then they go, and they had patented special technology to make the encoding video work even better. There's no way Amazon. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? It's not going to work because it's cloud gaming. None of the shit you just said matters.
Didn't Microsoft just come out this week and be like, cloud gaming actually sucks?
Yes, that was a part of their fucking pages-long diatribe about how small their dick is. It was insane. They literally, no, we're not making this up. They literally did that this week. They went, cloud gaming is really not taking off, so don't consider that a huge competitive
They said we are relying on Apple and Sony to make cloud gaming a real thing so that we can come in behind them and destroy the industry.
They literally said that. We live in such a
company
fucking
called cloud gaming immature and unproven. Yeah. It's in its infancy, and it will not replace anything. That's it. It's dead. They just said it. It's over. Cloud gaming defenders.
The amount of shit. There's a part at the end of the Tim and Eric movie where this guy who hates Tim and Eric gets the terrorists. He rats them out to the terrorists, and the terrorists come to the mall and they start shooting the place up. And that guy realizes the terrorists don't consider him a part of their team because they start firing at him. And he runs back and he does this really long monologue about how he's scared, he's terrified, he's sorry, he shit his pants, he's sorry, and they hate him. And Microsoft is that guy right now, as he just goes, listen, all this shit, I didn't sell that many consoles, cloud gaming's a farce, I'm sorry, you guys. It's so fucking weird to listen to them be this pathetic.
Is this a first in human history?
Yes. I've never seen a company ever do this. Their whole job is to not do this.
You didn't make Disney say their dick was small before you let them buy Fox.
Right, 100%. Someone at Microsoft is literally crying while pounding a desk while saying that to themselves.
I mean, but this is Microsoft's MO. I mean, you remember in the 90s when they went to antitrust their asses.
Yes.
Because they tried to own all of computers.
Yes.
They went, what? No, that's not true. Netscape's a thing. We bought Netscape last week? Fuck.
Yeah, no, they had to try really hard to not get completely broken up as a company in the 90s. And then we let them go 2.5 decades without any checking of power whatsoever.
Yep. It's okay. They haven't taken over everything because they're incompetent, but we still have to tolerate them.
Speaking of which, yeah, let's just segue into that. That was a smooth transition.
Microsoft laid off 1,000 people this week. They laid off 1,800 in June, or no, it was July. And they're in the middle of a hiring freeze right now. So like they sense economic downturn coming, and they're like, we've got to save our acorns. Which also, I guess, feeds into their thing that came out years ago, where it was like 70% of our staff needs to be contract.
Yeah, which is the problem with our law firm.
Okay, now I know it makes perfect sense for a company to do something like this ahead of the giant recession we're totally headed into. Can I entertain for a moment the super cynical notion that they are also playing 4D chess and they laid off 1,000 employees to look weaker to the CMA?
No, because they have like 300,000 employees. Maybe if they had laid off 50,000.
Oh. Jesus Christ.
Gotham Knights, I think we talked about it last week, is only going to have one mode, which was 4K ray traced and 30. Well, it's actually not 30. It's somewhere around 24.
Yeah.
It has terrible frame time issues. The Callisto Protocol made fun of them on Twitter and said that they would be having a performance mode that hits 60. And Digital Foundry, the Digital Foundry Gotham Knights video is out, and it's a Kroby Cat video.
It is like, that bad.
God.
It is that bad, where it's like, we're going to compare this to Arkham Knight, a game from 7 years ago that did not get a PS4 Pro or Xbox One X enhancements. It beats Gotham Knights' ass in basically every way.
Yeah, it's nuts.
They were like, this game has animations that look like dog shit. Nothing looks like it flows right. They let characters snap into awkward positions for these fucking animations. The city layout is boring and it doesn't feel like Gotham. How bad do you have to be for that to be in your Digital Foundry breakdown of like, hey, this ain't fucking Gotham?
Yeah.
It's like the motorcycle is worse than the Batmobile in Arkham Knight. It isn't nearly as cool. Combat feels bad.
No. Let me just break down the layers of the water looks like total shit. There's no motion blur that looks good at all and gives you a sense of speed. They put whooshy lines at the edge of the screen to make you feel like you're going fast. There's no rain, but everything's wet. But there is rain. If you stare really closely, you'll occasionally see a line go past a sign or something like that. There are no humans to be found in Gotham City. What? You can drive for minutes and maybe see a person and cars just driving themselves.
You know, every other one had the excuse of, well, it's a lockdown city of some sort. Like,
right. But Arkham City,
but you don't find criminals
Knight,
either, Bob.
Arkham Knight just has people all in the streets like mobs.
Oh yeah, it does have a bunch of enemies.
It has legit ass enemy mobs, just shitloads of people. This thing's a ghost town. This game does not look like I knew this game was going to be fucking trouble the first time they showed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then again when they showed it earlier this year. But I didn't realize they were going to ship the game, and it's just not done. This literally looks like they went, get out the fucking door, Suicide Squad coming out next year. We cannot show the both of you at the same time. No one will buy this game if they see something for Suicide Squad and it's coming out anywhere near this.
Yeah, why did they greenlight both of these projects at once?
Because they're insane, and Destiny drove them insane. They couldn't just make another Arkham Knight. They couldn't do that. They couldn't let those fuckers make a Superman game. They couldn't do that. We have to make the games as a service game. Which the funny thing is, like, from what I'm hearing, Gotham Knights just has all the games as a service shit stripped out, but it's obviously structured like one.
Yeah, here it still is filled with a ton of grinding you don't want. It sounds like the Assassin's Creed games now.
Right.
Like you just hit grind walls, and you also have the loot that's terrible.
It honestly sounds like they didn't strip it out. They just didn't finish it because they were like, we're bringing in a 4-person raid mode later. And the reviews were like, there's no end game. You get to you beat the game and like there's nothing there, which sounds to me like we didn't finish this.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
This is what's required to get a 4 from IGN and a 5 from GameSpot. Which means if you use the full scale correctly, this game is definitely not even a 4.
Yeah. The most insane part of the Digital Foundry thing is them showing Red Hood, Jason Todd, which, by the way, Jason Todd regularly tops the most attractive DC character male polls. They made him look like he's going to call you a slur on Xbox Live in this game. Like, I don't understand why they did that, but it's just him running down an empty train track. And the frame rate tanks harder than anything else that Digital Foundry tried.
It's bad.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Let's move into something else insane. Sony says they didn't put the Nathan Drake collection on PC because it doesn't look good enough.
They need to stop with this. We don't need a remake of the first 3 Uncharted games.
I don't think they're going to remake them, but they literally said, well, we could have put them on PC, but we decided that they don't really stand up to modern games.
Worth noting, the Last of Us Part 1 originally started as an Uncharted 1 remake. And they said, we would just have to fix too many things with the gameplay. It's too hard. Let's remake The Last of Us.
I'm sorry, you said The Last of Us Part 1, and I obviously assumed the first Last of Us game, because my brain keeps trying to erase that fucking project happened because it doesn't fit in the universe.
You know, on the Xbox One...
God damn it.
Yeah, this sucks. That's really stupid. People, of course, want an accessible way to play Uncharted 1 through 3.
That is some real Jim Ryan brain shit.
That is absolutely Jim Ryan brain shit.
Goddamn fucking diva-ass motherfucker.
Here, let me just read the exact thing. While considering what to debut on PC with, we looked through our catalog and decided the beautiful globe-trotting stories of the Uncharted series felt like a natural fit to introduce to players all around the world. Now, you may be wondering why we didn't start with the original Uncharted. We felt that, while Nathan Drake's first 3 adventures from the PlayStation 3 console stand the test of time narratively, they would require a major overhaul visually to stand up to modern PC releases and the expectation players may have.
No, they don't. Just charge less.
What do you hear in your head when people say we want to play X game? What is it?
We want to play X game, but it looks like the new Ratchet and Clank.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like the Jim Ryan era is literally them thinking, well, they say they want to play the Sly Cooper games, but if we actually let them, they'd complain about how they looked.
That sucks. A lot.
But we can let them play them on streaming. For some reason, that doesn't activate the bug. It is only natively that makes this happen.
See, when everything looks bad on streaming, they'll just be like, "Oh, this is normal."
Well, as we know, streaming doesn't exist, so
you
can do whatever in that space, and God can't see you.
Credible rumor: Bungie's bringing Marathon back. It's going to be a 3-person squad-based extraction shooter.
What exactly is an extraction shooter?
you pick a mission, you land in the mission, you go do objectives, and you have to escape. So something like Payday might be a good comparison.
Interesting. This fucking
Warframe.
rules. I would absolutely be interested
Warframe
in
is specifically
this.
what I was thinking of.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. I'd like Bungie to make a single player shooter again someday too, but this seems fine.
Yeah, the 3-player it sounds games as a servicey too from that rumor as well.
I mean, that makes sense. 3-player shooter.
Yeah, it's like
fucking Destiny.
Yeah, it's just Destiny more.
But that's fine.
I mean,
I love Marathon. I like that universe because for people who don't remember, Marathon is canon to fucking Destiny.
And Halo.
And Halo, yeah. Yeah, they're all technically in the same universe. Especially, like, super provably Halo and Marathon. So, yeah, I would absolutely love for them to make a fucking shooter. Like, why wouldn't I? I love Bungie. Bungie is the reason I loved Halo. I think Marathon's really cool. Too bad I tried to play it and went, this is fucking what is going on.
Yeah, that
someday
makes
I'll
sense.
figure it out. Maybe. But yeah, no, this rules. Cool. 10 out of 10. Super interested.
And finally, there was a Resident Evil Direct today. It was mostly a bunch of, like, on the RE8 front, there wasn't anything we didn't already know. You know, it's the Rose DLC, third-person DLC. You can play as
The Lords.
the Lords, two of the Lords. You can play as Lady Dimitrescu and Heisenberg. Is his name
Yes.
Heisenberg?
His name is Heisenberg. You can play as the Vasto Lordes now in Resident Evil 8's mercenary mode.
Which is
And
Spanish
they also
for
were like,
big lady.
we're fixing mercenaries mode. And I'm like, good. It fucking needed it.
Yeah, no, the current version is just trash. They shouldn't have called it mercenary mode. It's so bad.
That's tragic.
But we finally got a big chunk of RE4 stuff. It looks great. You can kick guys. They showed multiple different melee moves, including like a shoulder throw if somebody's grabs you from behind. The enemies are now smarter and will do shit like the chainsaw guy's coming. I'm gonna grab your leg.
Yeah.
We see him parry the pitchfork with his knife.
You have a parry. There is now a parry system. Someone went real granular and is like, doing the escape takes roughly a fifth of your durability on your knife. Doing the parry, the what I assume is the frame perfect parry, takes almost none.
Cool.
They said it took 1 pixel out of 40 pixels. That was the bar. They went that granular on it.
Good.
They went. The person I saw was real crazy. They're like, looks like the parry window for this is like 13 frames.
You can adjust the dip switches on the arcade to reduce the window.
You can now upgrade the knife. It's one of the weapons you can upgrade, which I think is real cool. I love the knife. There's a new weapon called the bolt thrower. The jury's out if that's just the mine thrower with a different name or if it's actually a new weapon.
Yeah, the mine thrower threw bolts that exploded, so it's kind of like, it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
They showed ammo crafting, which was in 8, right?
I think.
Yes, it was. I think it was in 3 at least.
Mm-hmm.
They showed ammo crafting. They showed minor changes to the treasure system, like you'll be able to find special treasures that you trade for items.
Mm-hmm.
Leon still has goofy one-liners because he shoots a lantern that falls on people and burns them and is like, just send me the bill later. Luis is now real greasy.
Yeah, man. He did not look that sketchy before.
I love it.
Ashley no longer has ears. They changed her haircut, so now she just has no ears.
What?
They've also seemingly expanded stuff that happens in the game because there's like her going sicko mode with the Las Plagas veins and pointing a gun at Leon, which she does get, like, Sadler does like wave his hand and control her a little bit in the original game. We know it at bare minimum that the boat boss, the fuck was it called? I can't remember. Whatever, the big fish, and El Gigante are both in. Salazar now looks like Queen Elizabeth. Like, he just looks like Queen Elizabeth, which I guess makes sense with that whole line where he's like, I may look like this, but I'm only 20 years old. And I think he talked for a second and his voice sounded way more like you could take him seriously, which is wrong. You need to go back and fix that.
That small timeline better be it.
I'm hoping. It's so funny that people were like, nah, watch, they're going to lean way more into the horror. You have a parry. You parry the chainsaw with your knife.
Yeah, that chainsaw block they show is ludicrous.
That was insane. That was absolutely nuts.
Christ. It's one of those moments where I'm like, I'm one of those curmudgeonly assholes who's like, that's not how steel works. You have to like hit that level of fuck, that's awesome to turn that off in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, this is so good. Do it again.
I wonder if you can parry like the Las Plagas whip where they have like the head has the blade tentacle on it.
Please.
Yeah.
They also showed off environmental destruction, like the chainsaw guy charges through like the scaffolding that's around one of the houses and knocks it all down.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna come down on him like fucking Super Shredder. It's just the whole fucking thing collapses.
And that could be like a set piece and you can't interact with it. It's not dynamic, but it also could be dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, the original is really known for being really dynamic for its time. So it makes sense that they come up with even more dynamic elements to this version.
It looked to be a sort of, you went this way, now you can't go back kind of thing.
The thing happened with the cow too, where he lit that lantern on and it just ran out of the
on
barn,
fire
on
and
fire.
just crashed into everyone in the way. And it was like, holy shit.
So they are trying to do some dynamic stuff.
Yeah, like my faith is like rock solid now.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be great, and it's coming out in 5 months. So it's like, man, next year's looking pretty good.
You need to keep Capcom, please keep in the Salazar statue. I know that's the stupidest thing in Resident Evil 4, where he just has a giant statue of himself that chases you for 15 seconds.
Yes,
but
that's great shit.
I need you to do that for me.
Yeah, that's
They're like, we took it out, and I'm like, and they're like, and we replaced it with the scene from Count Cagliostro in The Great Mouse Detective. So now you're up in the gears, and I'm like, ooh.
Like, this is amazing. Medusa head flies by.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Parrying Medusa heads.
The Medusa head would be a lot more tolerable if the Belmonts had a gun.
True. Fact.
Man, where's that Castlevania game where it's like 1940? And it's just like, no, I have silver bullets.
I don't know. They could have made that in the original timeline.
Yeah, the Portrait of Ruin is so close to being that.
Bloodlines is set in like the 30s even. It's like, no, Dracula, I have a crossbow that shoots pieces of the original cross.
Fucking, like, just the castle shows up, and before a Belmont gets there, Delta Green shows up with a squad.
That is what happened in 1999. That's why there's soldier skeletons in Aria of Sorrow.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
But I'm so sad that we're never going to get Castlevania 1999, because I wouldn't even want it without Iga.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we recorded a whole podcast about that, which shows how sad we all were. Because it's just like, what an insane one-off podcast. I think about that occasionally. I'm like, yeah, we really are that bitter. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 looks really great.
Yeah.
They let us know you can buy the PS4 version. And you can later upgrade it to the PS5 version for free. What a concept. Thank you. But that's it for news.
Hey.
What?
They announced one other thing we cannot forget about this.
Oh, what's up?
They told us that Reverse is real.
Oh, yes, they did.
That's true. They were like, hey, here's footage of Reverse. And we're like, that's a year and a half late. Wow, they're showing it off. And they're like, guess what? You can get the early access on this thing that's a year and a half late. I'm like,
They also showed off the different variants of RE4 remake, like the editions, and everyone above the standard one gets really funny costumes. There's like romantic, where Leon has like the puffy pirate shirt. There's hero, where he's all noble looking, and there's villain, where he looks like V from DMC5.
Yes, it fucking rules. That shit's hilarious. They're so smart.
I'm so glad. Like, they're really obviously keeping the campy shit, even if they're playing it more straight, which feels like it'll make it even better. Because like that Heisenberg shit in 8 wasn't serious. It was impossible to take serious. You have this dipshit with a bloodborne hammer, like hamming it up and making you go fight his things that he cut the arms off of.
You mean the guy
making you fight Propeller Head?
Like, Resident Evil has always and like, I don't fucking play these games, but it's obvious to me that Resident Evil has always understood something you don't see grasped well a lot, that was perfected with Evil Dead 2. The more comedy you put in your horror, the better the horror is.
That's true. It's a good balance they strike. Also, they can model faces, giving them a leg up on fucking Bloober Team. Anyways, that's the news. In the next week, Bob and I apparently will play Silent Hill 2 HD collection version, because that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Thing I'm kind of scared of. Resident Evil games, you get used to the route, right? And then you run the route again and again, you get better at it. Silent Hill 2 has random seeds that it generates at the beginning of the playthrough to chase the puzzles.
You also get to choose your riddle level.
Yeah, it's true. You get to choose your riddle level.
Yeah, that's what it calls it.
Like, just how hard the puzzles are?
Yeah, easy, normal, hard. Yeah.
That is fucking big brained as shit.
Yeah, it is. No, Silent Hill 2 is a very smart game.
Man.
Yeah. So, we get to look forward to Troy Baker and whoever the hell Maria is. Aside from that, I don't know. It's unclear as of right now whether or not we will play Gotham Knights. I think that'll be up to the people who show up on Friday and what they think about things, and whether or not things appear in our inventory, as in money. But maybe that'll happen. We don't know. Hell, we don't even know if we'll be guaranteed to love it by GameStop.
Right? They just can't figure it out.
Anyway, I'm really looking forward to the second playthrough of Silent Hill 2, even though we're doing the Clown Edition. Aggro, do you have anything going on in the next week?
I apparently have some odd forms and somber tapestries to look forward to.
Oh no,
I'm excited.
I feel like I'm probably going to wrap up Cyberpunk in the next couple of days, so I'm going to have a slot open.
That's great.
I can't wait to poke things.
I'm very excited.
Dude, if you came through this and you were like, I genuinely thought it was a great game and they designed it well, that would be great. That would be awesome.
No, it's going to be worse. I'm going to come in and be like, look, I get why you guys thought this game was dumb.
Because you're dumb.
I think it'd be funny if Aggro came in and was even more vitriolic because Aggro paid $40 for it.
You can tell we've been working with Aggro on shit for 22 years or something. Jesus Christ. Something like that. 20, I guess. Jesus. Anyway, hey Chris, what do you got going on in the next week?
I'm gonna stream something. Once again, I haven't decided yet. I really like to take it down to the wire.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's where the exciting ideas come from. From seeing that Gotham Knights runs at 22 frames per second. Has ray tracing that looks like absolute dog shit.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this week's Big Think Dimension. Holy shit, that's loud! Patreon.